Welcome to Pillow Talk with Paul Goneau. Today, my guest is mother, comedian, motivational speaker, neurodiversity advocate, Sandee B.
Hey.
Yeah, how are you?
Good.
So,
what a nice intro.
Stumbled the first time. It's all right. Where did the Sandee B thing come from? I'm curious because we did a show.
Yeah.
And I was talking about Sandra Bullock, and you were talking about Sandee from, was it Grease?
Yeah, well, she has a song that says, "Look at me, I'm Sandra D." It's not really, it's Sandra D. Sandra B.
Okay.
Sandee B is because my last name starts with a B.
Yeah.
My married last name, and I still want to be a little bit, I don't want to be totally out there with my last name.
Yeah.
So
or make his name famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it came from. And it's a little different because it's two E's, so double E. So that's, the uniqueness in me. So yeah. And I think it's catchy. Yeah, it rhymes.
Yeah, it's a good, and it kind of, like, Sandra Bullock is like, that's like kind of her nickname for me. I think some other people use it as well. Yeah. It's a little common.
Actually, people told me I look like her.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I actually love her. She's great.
Yeah, she's great. She's like one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And it's a good like persona, stage name. You know, like I'm gonna call him out a little bit here, but another comedian, Morgan Glass.
Yeah.
And like his real last name is Glass.
It is.
Yeah, and so he did one of my shows before, the competition show. I think you did that, Lafiteria.
Yeah.
And he's on another show coming up. And when I put Glass on the poster, he like messaged me. He's like, "Hey man, like next time, could you like you kind of I think when I first made the poster with you, you're like, hey dude, can you like switch it up to Sandee B?" And I did that. Yeah. So he kind of did the same thing, but he was like, "Hey, can you not use like my real name and use I guess he's doing Morgan Nogram. He's doing Morgan like spelled backwards as his last name."
Out? Did you just like
I did because here's the thing. His real name. No, but the thing it's at the end of the day I'm going to compliment him because his real name is fucking so great. Yeah. But he's also kind of where you're at, and he's like he's trying to separate, I guess, his personal life and his.
Yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a single mom, right?
Yeah.
I work in a professional setting, so I'm really trying to separate that, which is difficult, and it does leak into one another anyway. But yeah it's tough. Because I'm a crass comedian, so it's like I don't want to embarrass I embarrass my kids every day anyway, but.
So you got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that kind of shit, you know?
The nature of my life.
What was the first thing that came?
Like performance-wise?
Yeah, or like, yeah.
This is a huge, long story that I talk about all the time, because I've been wanting to do this sort of stuff, like, my whole life. I actually went to school for journalism. Okay. So I have a degree in journalism from Ryerson.
Did you end up getting, like, a job when you left
So
school?
I worked in TV a little bit.
Yeah.
I worked in TV a little bit as a production assistant, but I have 4 older sisters. And all of them were like in government or teachers, and so I was like, I'm obviously going to work for the government because that's the best. I wanted to be a mom and a wife, and I was like, this is going to be great. So I was figuring I might as well just go into that. But honestly, underneath it was a fear. Like I didn't really have the courage. I had such severe performance anxiety at that time. I still do. I'm nervous doing this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it more in undiagnosed ADHD, which is where really it all came from. And I couldn't pursue the things that I've always wanted to do. And it sucked, man. So yeah, I got sucked into like a federal government job for like almost 20 years, making great money and doing well, but it was like soul sucking. And I've always been sort of like that extreme extrovert performer, like I command attention in every room, a storyteller, a writer, right? And all that sort of stuff. But I just never had the courage to pursue it until I finally got diagnosed, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of like maybe a little backwards approach. What was like, how did that motivate you in becoming, a performer? Or would you even consider motivational speaking performing as well?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's somewhat.
Anytime you're on a stage, anytime. Yeah. I feel like it's even performance when I'm just like in a social setting and I'm the one telling stories and jokes. This is what we're always like, right? What was the question? This is my new shit. I don't know what your question is.
How did the ADHD motivate you? Like, what was it?
Oh, because I was so fucking pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still pissed. I'm still angry. Because
Like
I'm so
angry
late
that you have
diagnosed.
it, or angry that you didn't know for so long?
Angry that I was undiagnosed and misdiagnosed for so long.
Yeah.
Even though I was that typical kid that was hyperactive and with my hand up in class, and
Yeah.
I was like, I was a bully and a bitch and so outspoken. Like there was so much, and so restless. Like there's so much about me that screams ADHD. But because I'm a girl and a woman, and then I became a wife and a mom who had to become super organized, super regimented in order to just live my life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the typical symptoms of being, late all the time and disorganized and all that sort of stuff. So I was misdiagnosed for so long, until my ex-husband actually got diagnosed first, and then my kids did, and then at 39 years old, a few years ago I was, and that was just like, I call it the Sixth Sense effect. And that's why you were saying the backwards. Then that's one of my favorite movies too. It's the best. But it's like reeling back in your head, like, holy shit, like, how did I not know? Like, how did I go to 4 therapists? None of them saw it in me, but 2 sessions in, they saw it in my ex-husband. It's just, I'm pissed. And that's what's motivated my advocacy and motivated me to overcome my performance anxiety. The medication too helps. Medication is the best treatment for it. But on top of that, healthy living, throwing myself into it, therapy, trauma therapy, so just going for it. But my purpose is I've always sort of been like a renegade, and that comes a lot with ADHD, like being a renegade, wanting to change the world, wanting to make a difference, justice seeker. You're very much that, right?
Yeah.
I know. So it comes with it a lot. So it's that intense internal need of like changing the world and having an effect on the world and leaving a legacy. And I've always sort of had that. So I just have the courage to do it now. I'm just so fucking pissed that it's like when I'm like 41, getting old, and it's like, could have done it when I was like young and hot and didn't have kids, and it's like, shit, it sucks.
Yeah, but you might
It
have
sucks
handled
being a
it
woman
differently.
sometimes.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, straight up, if I had to re-up every year, I would never be a woman. Like, besides
I know.
like the societal things,
I
like
would
you guys
achieve
have a bunch of like things going on in your body that are, it's just, it's wild, and
Sure.
you make people.
Sure.
Like, there would be significantly less people if guys were giving birth.
What do they
Like,
say?
You know that,
Like,
right?
you know what they say? If men were the ones who had to give birth, every family would have 1 kid. Because men would never do it after the first time.
There wouldn't be families with like 5 kids. That's for damn sure.
I'm one of 5, yeah.
Man, that's
No.
wild. And I love how
Fucking awful.
before we started recording, you're like, I wanted to have 5 kids. Or 5 daughters.
No,
That's
I'm
what
one
you
of 5
said.
girls.
And
but I did want to have
parents
more.
have 5 daughters.
Yeah.
5 daughters.
Yeah. I did want to have more.
Yeah.
I did want to have more, but I couldn't manage it. So that's part of that ADHD as a woman, being like chronically overwhelmed and not knowing why, and working and wanting to do everything. That's the thing. I am best when I'm doing a million things at once. That's why you're like, oh, how do you do all these things at once? Well, it's because of my brain. It's because I have ADHD and I have to be on the go. I'm run by a motor.
You procrastinate a lot?
No, actually. Boring shit.
Boring shit. Okay, that's fair.
There's things that I procrastinate
Yeah.
and I don't finish.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean, there's
I'm a
things
doer.
just,
I'm a
I
doer.
think, unconsciously, even if we're like, okay, all these things are important, there's definitely, things we don't find as important. Like,
Yeah.
that's how I am, and I think, sometimes the things that, I guess, are less important end up, like, stacking up.
Yeah.
And then, I'm, like, a huge procrastinator
Yeah.
myself. And I was diagnosed with ADHD, like, young, and, I was raised in foster homes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
And I was like in and out of the system for a while.
Yeah.
Like my Nana was trying to like, become my legal guardian, but my mom was fighting her. So I'd be living with my Nana for 2 years, and then I'd be in like foster homes for like 2-3 years. And it was like this weird thing. But my Nana, she was a nurse, and
Oh, wow.
she found out, like I was young,
Yeah, I would say lucky boy. You get diagnosed
See,
young.
it seems like that, and like I'm trying to come at it from like a different, because I had like a different experience with it, and like my Nana found out like they were giving me like Ritalin and like just like pills,
Yeah.
and she was very like, obviously she's a nurse, she believes in that kind of stuff, but was just like, I think you're too young for these kind of things,
Yeah,
and
no.
like. She would give me like eucalyptus baths, and she just did like other
But
things.
there's merit to those things too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely,
sure.
absolutely.
And those are medically proven.
And like it definitely affected me,
Yeah.
in school, especially like early on, middle school, elementary school, those kind of years. I was class clown. I didn't
too.
like like doing things in front of the class, but I enjoyed like sitting at my desk and making
Me
everyone
too.
laugh.
Yeah,
you know
that
what
was
I
me.
mean?
I was always the class clown. I always say my desk was permanently attached to the teachers. Because it was like I was always talking.
Yeah, I did.
Sandra.
Like I spent a lot of time with my desk in the hallway. You know, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if they do that anymore.
I'd be told to take a walk. Always take a walk. The class needs a break from you. I'd be like, "Fuck you guys." But then I like
always
play
peeking
Jesus
your head
in the play.
and shit. Yeah.
And I like played Jesus in the play. So I
Did
was actually,
you really?
Yeah, man.
That's wild.
know.
What kind of plays are you? Was it this like serious Catholic
This
school?
was serious Catholic school, and they cast a boy at first, and we were all like, "He's garbage," and so I literally like it was a mutiny in the class where I was like, "I'm gonna play Jesus."
Ooh,
and that
trendsetter.
Was when
back in the day. That's what's up.
I've always been. But that's when my performance anxiety wasn't getting to me. My performance anxiety really set in like after puberty, and especially when I went to journalism school, because that's when my imposter syndrome struck me, where I was like, I don't deserve to be here among these incredible elite people, and I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, people aren't going to believe me. And that's when I literally couldn't even like put my hand up to speak in class. Like it was so awful. So awful. It was really debilitating.
Do you still like kind of feel that a little bit and you're just able to control it?
Yeah. The medication helps, but it's also exposure therapy. I'm just pushing myself to do it now, whereas before I couldn't. Like it was so debilitating, even to go to job interviews. So it stalled my career. Like every time I talk about my ADHD and all the shit that came with it, like it really. And people always ask me, because I'm a huge advocate and I do life coaching too. I'm a certified life coach. I run a support group for women.
Fuck, I should have done that in the
No, there's too many things. I do
there's
too many things. I do too much.
That's great.
No, but like I run a support group for women like me and who support kids who are... I go to the youth center and I engage with kids there. I host a neurodiversity night. I volunteer all over the place at seniors' homes. Like for me, if I could just go to places and chill with people and make them laugh, it's just the best thing. But yeah, it's super, super important to me. I don't know. I start from answering a question that I don't know where the hell I end up.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's
improvise. Good. Yeah, and that's that.
No, that's good. I can see why, like, the motivational speaker thing, and it has, come into play. My foster dad, when I say my foster dad also, I mean the last person I lived with. Yeah. Because I moved around a lot.
Yeah.
In my teens, I was with like one person for like, a significant amount of years before I moved out. Mm-hmm. And so that's who I consider my foster dad. And like I was going through a lot of shit. And like,
yeah, I bet.
In like high school, I had like drug addiction issues.
Yeah, that's all ADHD, man.
Like fucking drank like on my way to like high school.
Well, that's self-medicating.
And like there's just a lot of things that were unhealthy about my life. And then I started to kind of like turn it around a little bit. And he's like, you should fucking be a motivational speaker. And it's always been something that's been like in the back of my mind.
Or a big brother, like that sort of thing. Like you'd be amazing.
Yeah, I would like to. And I was actually in one of those like programs. I had a big sister.
Aww.
Yeah, and I'm still in contact with her. Like because of the foster home thing, like I don't really have like my Nana. She moved to BC at a certain point. Like my family is kind of like really split up where like there's good family and there's like better family. And the better family moved to BC to get away from all the shit here. Yeah. And I don't really have a lot of like family members that I like talk to. And I still talk to this lady who just like hung out with me when I was like...
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, she's the best. Yeah. Like she knows my daughter. Like it's just crazy. She's the only person in my life right now who actually knew my Nana.
Aww.
So we have like a special like connection and like we have special conversations. And again, I'm doing, what you did and just kind of trailing off. But the motivational speaking, how does one get into that? Like I'm
not even in it really. I'm still trying to like do it more.
Okay.
But I really just call it chronic oversharing. And that's what comes with a lot with ADHD. We're just like oversharers and people are like, oh, you're so brave. And
yeah,
you're
but like
so courageous.
if you motivate, people, you're speaking to a group of people.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest group I've spoken to is about 300 people. Yeah.
Dude!
I know.
What do you mean? It's not like just like a living room full of people.
It's pretty cool, but I know, but it's like, it's that shoulda, woulda, coulda, like, man, like I should be doing more. And it is that always like feeling like it's never enough. It's all or nothing. We have all or nothing thinking, but it's I think it's because once you've been through shit, and I've always been an open book, once you've been through shit and you're ready to share it, like I didn't realize before, same with comedy, like how rare that actually is. a skill and a gift, sort of, to be able to relate to people and open up to people and be so vulnerable and leave your heart on the stage. Not very many people actually do it. I thought it was like, everyone can do it. It's not true. So,
no, not at all. No. And like, especially at the beginning level, I find it was really hard with me to let an audience know who I was within like 5 minutes or 7 minutes.
Right? I know.
You know?
It's hard.
It's really hard. Like, I can make you laugh, but I think like the deepest laughs and the best laughs come when people understand how you think and to understand your personality. Yes. And like some people are naturally gifted at just expressing that in a way that it just shows in 5 minutes, and some people have to work at that a lot.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to work at it a bit. Something that really helped was hosting, because I just got more time.
I'd like to do hosting.
And then I saw the things that kind of worked and the things that didn't. So like when I was given less time, I could do that a little better. How long have you been doing comedy?
Oh, I've only been doing it since like October.
Oh shit.
Last year. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, it was pretty quick. Like, I've only ever done 2 open mics, and then I've just had booked stuff after that. Mm-hmm. So the longest that I've done is 15 minutes, which is pretty cool. Like, nice. I think that's pretty cool for this early on.
Definitely. In
my career, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it or be able to stick with it. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So what was appealing about stand-up comedy?
I think it was more so, honestly, for myself to prove that I could do it. Nice. And that's like, my whole life everyone has told me that I should do comedy and that I'm so funny and that I'm the funniest person they've ever met. Like, not to toot my own horn, but it's like, I love it. And I love comedy and stand-up, and I grew up loving comedy. And I was like, and then I was going through my list of shit of like, okay, now I'm overcoming my fears and I'm diagnosed and I can do this shit and I have time off from my kids, right, every other weekend. Like, what's something that I've always wanted to do? And that's really been it. So nobody's surprised. Nobody in my life is surprised at me.
Yeah,
They're like,
it's like about time.
It took so long.
Yeah. No, I dig that.
Yeah.
Man.
It's fun. Actually, it's not fun yet.
It's not fun yet?
No. I'm still so nervous.
I like it's fun.
No.
Wait, no.
Yeah, I lie a lot. Not on purpose.
Okay.
I try to like tell myself. So in therapy, we reframe our feelings. So that's what I work on in my therapy and trauma therapy, because I get such extreme anxiety. We try to reframe it as excitement. So it's like you're trying to psych yourself out. So if you can reframe your thinking, it gets better. And so that's what I'm working on. So if I can say things out loud and tell myself things, I start to believe them.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely.
No, it's not. But I don't, like, every time before I go on stage and as I'm getting ready to go, like, I have such extreme anxiety. And when I have anxiety, it manifests as, like, rage and abuse. Like, I abuse people around me. I get snappy at my kids. I get angry. Mm-hmm. I'm better treated and medicated, but that's what happens to me. I get snippy and snappy and mean. And I hate that. And so every time before a show, I literally want to give up. Like, it's like, why am I doing this? I don't want to do it. Like, this is ridiculous. Then when I get on and I start talking, like 30 seconds to a minute in, I'm like, okay, this is great. And then you get the laughs. And I actually don't even care if I get too many laughs anymore. Before, that used to be like, people don't laugh, I'm a failure. But once that starts happening, then it's good. And then after, it's that euphoria, you know that. So that's like a high.
Yeah.
Like, that's like that hit of serotonin, dopamine, whatever the fuck it is. And that's a really cool feeling. But I don't know. It's that feeling before is just like, I don't want to do this.
No, I've been there, and especially when I'm doing a lot of like newer material, and even like my first thing, I remember like pacing back and forth because I was the next person going up. I did some like Second City shit, and like I had a lot of people there, and like it was a good crowd at the first show because it's just like everyone's closest friends, and they're all, even the guy who's like the comedian that like runs the class at the beginning of the show, he'll just be like, be nice, and like, so everyone's in like good spirits. And even still in that atmosphere, I was like, I had to psych myself up. And I'm getting better. I feel like now it's just mostly, it's weird because like I do, like obviously it's, you know, performance anxiety. I do have that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of my stress now, because I produce a few shows, that's where most of my stress is. And I'm too focused on like that shit. And like, oh my God, like, am I, you know, gonna have to pay people out of pocket, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing it for maybe about 3 years now, and I've only had to like pay people out of pocket twice.
Wow.
So I feel like
you're
that's
a good producer, and I was actually surprised because honestly, you don't appear to be the most organized.
Yeah.
Reliable.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you are like no, and I told
that.
you, and in this business, that's hard. Like I've met some really unreliable, dishonest people, but I've also met some of the most incredible people I've ever met in comedy.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. It's
met
definitely for me. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Some of like greatest souls that I'm just like, oh my god, I love you. And then there's that's the business, right? But no, you've been doing really.
And like this was kind of like initially like I started like 5 years ago comedy, maybe a little over, but it also fucking pandemic years. I didn't perform for like 2 years, so it's like it's weird. I don't really like saying 5 years because it's not the truth.
Yeah.
But I did start 5 years ago, and before then, I did a lot of like I like how I look. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to look approachable.
Good.
I didn't want people bugging me. It was like I was very much
that's probably part
introverted.
Of childhood trauma.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
We talk about that a lot. Yeah.
I was just very independent. I didn't have a lot of people to rely on. There was just I like doing my own thing, and so I did a lot of work to keep people away for a long time.
Yes.
And so I get when people are like, "Oh, you don't look like how you are."
Yeah.
And that's cool. I kind of like being
I
that
like
way.
that too. I like to surprise people. I like when people are surprised. Like, I hate when people judge a book by its cover. Like, it's such bullshit with the tattoos and shit. Like, we know now society's gone forward, but like with job interviews and shit, people are like, cover up your tattoos. And I was like, for what?
It's wild. I'm a referee as well, like a pro wrestling referee.
Oh, wow, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like some promoters that'll be like, hey man, like, you gotta do something about your tattoos. And I'm like, guy, like...
What?
Like, first of all, I would never be the kind... Like, I understand certain things and how society works. And, the risks I'm taking by putting visible tattoos that I can't really hide on my body. It's a conscious thing. I'm aware.
Yes.
And I'm very big on not letting other people dictate how I live my life.
Yep.
And also, like my doctor has tattoos, dude. We're pro wrestling. Like every wrestler has tattoos. You're sitting here acting like I need to look a certain way. It's just like I don't even bother. It's weird that kind of shit still exists, with certain things.
I know. With anything. Yeah. Tattoos, piercings, like what is that? How does that have any bearing on what that person's character is?
My Nana was really weird about things. And so it was a long journey in my life, but I want to kind of fast forward to 2000, and I had basically been in BC living for a bit, and there was a bunch of shit happen out there with the people. My Nana was getting old, and I wasn't exactly living with her, but I was seeing her every day, and the people I was living with, it was my cousin and his wife and her daughter. Mm-hmm. He started abusing me, whatever. Yeah. I was in grade 5.
Oh my God.
My Nana found out, and I was living with her for a bit, but she was understandably, she's senior citizen, and she can't really take care of me. I'm, getting older and a little hard to handle. Yeah. And, in my mind, I was like, I want to go try living with my mom, which was a crazy fucking mistake.
Yeah.
My mom was drug addict, just...
Well, if you have ADHD, you know that most likely both your parents have that or autism, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if my mom was doing drugs with me. Yeah. I feel like that would explain
But that's the addiction piece of ADHD. It's that stimulating yourself, self-medicating, is that need to calm whatever's inside you, the storm. And it's so generational and intergenerational. So, yeah, I hope you have some empathy for her.
It's weird because so I'm not there yet, man. Yeah. I really don't. And so when I was in college, I'm just going to kind of trail off for a second here. When I was in college, I was doing really well. I had turned my life around. My Nana had just passed, and that was kind of really kind of the thing that made me turn around. I was like, fuck, man, I couldn't make it to my Nana's funeral. I didn't go to a bunch of friends' funerals and people that I knew that died's funerals because I felt like it was disrespectful to my Nana and shit. But when I started turning my life around, I messaged my mom out of the blue. I saw her on Facebook, and I was like, hey, it's your son. You haven't tried to reach out in X amount of years, 10 years. Just want you to know I'm doing good, blah blah blah. And she messaged me back, and this is just good amount of years since I, last seen her, lived with her. And she was she was like blaming me for things.
Oh.
Still, and I'm like, you're still like this? Like, it's like just zero growth.
Yeah.
And she said a bunch of like mean shit and told me not to message her again, or she would.
You can only do so much.
And I said a bunch of I replied and I sent a bunch of mean shit, and I was kind of like, how can you still be like this? Like, I thought.
Well,
but
she never got the help herself, right?
I know.
It wrecks lives. Man.
But that was kind of like, I felt like
Not that you're in the wrong.
I tried.
Of course.
Up until that point, I was like, none of us are trying. And I felt weird that I was the kid and I was the one trying. Mm-hmm. But I did. And because of her response to me, like, I feel like I don't feel like I need that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't wish anything bad upon her, but, like, I don't want her in my life.
It's a very personal choice, and people have to respect it. No one is ever going to be in your shoes and know why. Yeah. And so, like, especially when you become an adult, it's like, you're the maker of your own destiny.
But yeah, so I think I was saying...
you went to university, your Nana died, you were talking about... when you turned your life around and stuff, you were doing well in
I was
college.
trying to say something about being in my fucking foster home. I don't even know.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
This is why we can because we can go everywhere and anywhere and forget, and who cares?
That's the thing when you've lived a life. Yeah.
Yeah, life comes at you, man. I love Theo Vaughn, the comedian.
Yeah.
Have you seen? So he has this like viral TikTok that I love, that I send to people all the time. It's like, life just comes at you, and he's like, you're done? Here's a little more life. yeah. How about another sprinkle of life? He's like, you don't have no choice. And it's so true. The older you get, you do realize it's just like, oh my God. And where do the years go? It's like, I can't believe I look in the mirror. I don't know how old you are. Like I'm
38.
Okay, I'm 41. And I'm just like, you look in the mirror and you're like, what is happening?
This last year, like, I had to fight myself.
So quickly.
I had to fight myself so hard to not write on my daughter's birthday post, like, where's the time going? Because everyone says that shit.
But it's true.
But like, man.
I know.
Especially and you have 2 kids, and I just...
Yeah. My oldest daughter's graduating grade 8. Like, I was just, like, she was going over her grade 8. She wants to be valedictorian. And this is part of, like, I always say, like, me, untreated ADHD, I never got to be valedictorian. I never got to do the things. And my kids are both treated early, with medication and all that. And she's on her way to be valedictorian. I just saw her, in her opening game for soccer. She plays really competitive soccer. Scored a goal yesterday. Like, there's certain shit that she's doing that it's like... This is why I advocate and why I do what I do, to watch them. But yeah, it's wild watching your kids grow up, and you're like, what is happening? 13.
Seems like a lot of these things. There's like just a huge like autism. There's so many things that are just like, it seems like it's around a lot more.
Well, it is. It's always been around.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like, obviously, like, misdiagnosis and things like that is like play a role, but like. Yeah. Even things like allergies, it's like there's something we're not doing right and giving our bodies that like...
Well, it is the environment, our food, and then what we've all been through the pandemic. That's the other thing too. So like, I do a lot of research and I go to the conferences for ADHD too. So I'm very involved in all this. Mm-hmm. So trauma is a big piece when it comes to ADHD and autism, but especially ADHD. Mm-hmm. And a traumatized brain, if you look at the brain scans, looks very similar to an ADHD brain. So that's and especially when kids are little and they're traumatized, that really, really does happen. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gabor Mate, if you've seen him. He's actually a Vancouver doctor. He's like in his 80s. He's incredible. He's written all kinds of books like The Myth of Normal and Scattered Brains, Scattered Minds. Like, he's awesome. And he's worked on the meanest streets in Vancouver and has worked with, Indigenous and drug addicts, and he works on trauma a lot. And he talks about, he has ADHD himself, and so do his kids, but he has a very different view on it. He believes that trauma causes ADHD, that stress and anxiety causes cancers. This isn't just a notion. He's done studies, and there are studies that prove this stuff. So, right, it's proven. But the way he treats it is to treat the trauma. So he's actually got a lot of the psychedelic treatment stuff coming out, because he doesn't really believe in medicating you with the stimulant medication, which is where I differ with him. But treating the trauma.
Hey, man.
So I do trauma therapy too.
The thing with this kind of stuff is like, it's like, I mean, it's like most things. What's good for somebody may not. What's good for you may not be good for me.
Works.
And that's it.
Even
that's
if it's a placebo.
Right? That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. And that's why, like, I'm not a religious person.
Me neither.
And I have some, like, I don't know, religious friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care. Whatever gets you there, man.
That's
Whatever
right.
gives you the peace that you're looking for.
For sure. Yeah.
Fucking power
Whatever
to
motivates you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but this guy's incredible. Yeah, so I learned a lot about that. But yeah, that's part of it. And then so where I was getting to with the trauma piece is what we've all been through in the pandemic. So
you had a rough pandemic?
Oh yeah, that's why I was diagnosed.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was like I didn't, and I'm not trying to be like,
No.
I slept really well to a person
shit.
that didn't
No.
sleep. I'm not trying to like
No,
humble brag or anything,
No,
but
no.
like it was really nice to kind of slow down a little
Yeah.
bit. You
No,
know,
no,
I
no.
imagine it was like rough for the kiddies too, right?
Yeah, it
like,
was terrible being a single mom in the pandemic, locked down, away from work, undiagnosed ADHD, so being squirrely and not having my work friends and my work family to go to, being isolated, having to work from home and pay attention at home with 2 kids, having to do their schooling from home and being isolated from the people I love. Like, it was friggin' horrible.
Yeah, I heard just recently my friend was telling me about like her kid, you know, going to like Zoom school and how like they weren't allowed to like eat snacks during like class.
So
and
ridiculous.
she's like, but we're at home. We're not even. I'm like, well, can you just wait to snack time? Yeah, I know. She didn't either. She was just like, this is bullshit. What are you doing? Eat your snack.
I was like, turn your camera off and play your video games. I don't give a fuck what you do as long as you're not tapping me on the shoulder every 3 minutes, because that's what was happening. And I was so dysregulated, so I'd get like pissed, and I'd be on a conference call looking like a crazy person because I'd be like, what do you want? Like, it was so terrible.
You were able to work from home though?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay,
I worked for the
that's
government, so it was good. I was able to work from home. Yeah, which was good and bad, I guess. It really did lead to my diagnosis. Yeah.
Well, see, that's also, I guess, a good thing. That's a product of the pandemic, because you got diagnosed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the trauma that's come out of it. So with our kids, with the ADHD and autism, so my kids will say, like, when they come home from school, they're like, Mom, I swear 75% of my class has undiagnosed ADHD autism, and it's like everyone's insane. Mm-hmm. But it's because of what they've all just been through in the pandemic. They lost 3 years. These kids are behind by 2 years.
And that's a lot for a kid.
It's a lot. The development alone, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's crazy. So now you're putting them all back, and they're having to socialize. They forgot how to socialize. They're so reliant on their devices. You know, never mind social media. I'm a huge advocate too for regulation around social media and that sort of shit. I'm so glad.
That's a big conversation right now, and I'm like, she's not getting a phone. High school. I'm like, childhood ends when they get fucking phones.
Good luck. I said that too.
You did?
Oh yeah, man.
When did they get them?
And I was such a hard ass bitch. Before I was treated, I called myself a very militant mom. A screamer, a yeller. I never hit my kids because I was hit as a kid, right? But I was a screamer. Mm-hmm. And so militant and so rules oriented, right? And so I was like, they're never going to have a phone. Yeah, right. It's the cool factor too. You also don't want them to be left out.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't want them to be fucking losers, and everyone's on a group chat and they're the only one left out. I've seen what that does to kids. You know, and then so the mental health issues and the suicidal tendencies, like it's such a hard balancing act being a parent. And I keep telling people, I knew I was born to be a mom, and I'm great at it, and I love it, and I love my kids, and I know I'm going to send them into the world, and they're going to change the world. I know this about my kids. But I've never in my life regretted having kids until, like, the pandemic and until social media and phones and all that shit, because it's too hard. It is too hard to balance as a parent and try to, you know, review everything that they're intaking with social media. And it's like, I'm lucky, like I have some really confident kids, and I've taught them to question everything they're seeing on that shit. Like it's crazy. Yeah. But not every parent has the capacity to do that because they're sucked into it themselves. So yeah, I'm really glad they're now going to start banning them in schools in Ontario, which is good. But I'm really hoping for some government regulation around social media and phones, just like drugs and alcohol and cigarettes. Absolutely. The government needs to start getting
anything involved. That is damaging, you know, like, and it's
more damaging than anything else. People don't understand. That's the ultimate drug. It's like cocaine. They say it's like cocaine. Yeah,
absolutely. It hits those notes.
Yeah, which I've never tried. Should love to.
There's so many things to fucking
we could go all
consider
day,
as a parent, man.
Oh, it's the worst. Especially nowadays when people are like, oh, my parents, it was so hard when I was a parent too. No, it wasn't. No one will ever know how hard, especially for a mother. Sorry, you're a dad, but no one will ever know how hard it is to be a mom like it is today. We have no choice but to work because we can't afford to live otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Like, Aaliyah's, like, she actually starts daycare tomorrow.
Yeah.
She had her, like, kind of, I don't know, her little, what the fuck did they call it?
Yeah, like
her
orientation.
Pre-week, her orientation
yeah.
week,
Yeah.
where you go in, like, an hour a day.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I bet she did great. She's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, she did do great, but it's like, actually, she did too great. The first day we got there, I'm a very emotional man.
Yeah, me too. I'm a crier.
And the first day, like, she got there, we put her down, like, we kind of walked in, we said hi to everybody, and we're just, like, I was holding her, and, like, put her down, and I was expecting her to kind of, like, look up, maybe, like, reach for me to pick her up again, but she just, like, fucking beelined right for the kids, started playing with shit, like, crawled over one of the kids, like, I started crying right then. I was like, fuck.
I would say, so
my
daughter, who's the youngest, went to junior kindergarten, and she was consoling me the morning of. Like, because she didn't give a shit. Same thing. She got into the yard, she didn't even look at me. I was blubbering. As soon as I woke up in the morning, I was emotional wreck. And she was literally consoling me. She's like, it's okay, Mama. It's going to be okay. I'm like, it's my baby going to school.
But I even see things, like, I can't tell you the amount of times, generally old white ladies, but, like, just people comment, like, on me with my daughter, like it's a big deal. I'm like they'll be like, oh, blah, but they never, no one has ever said anything to, like, my lady.
I know.
Like, ever.
Well, that's like my ex. Like, he's a great dad. He was awesome, and he was right in there, changing diapers, doing all that shit. And we come from a very traditional Eastern European background. Mm-hmm. And, like, when my dad saw him changing diapers, he was like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Like,
yeah.
I have a lot of material on my dad. But it's like, he was like, what's wrong with you? You're a little bitch.
Yeah, no, like, I don't look at it like that.
It's crazy.
But, like, my lady's Middle Eastern, whatever, you know? And so, like, that's, like, where her family's at. Yeah. And, like, her mom sees all the shit I do, and she's just like, you're so lucky. Like, I make food. I'm a chef, you know, as well. So, I cook a lot of the time, you know? And, like, there was one time I was, like, making dinner, and she came over, her sister came over, and they were just like, they wanted like a taste test of everything. And her mom was just like, this is, like, she was just, because she didn't have that.
No.
She was, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like they
Our dads were served at the table, put a napkin in his shirt for him, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah, no, my ex wasn't like that.
Times have changed, I think. Pretty, and that's good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Because now you have a daughter, right? So it's like, they better be changing. Not as quickly as we'd like, but yeah, they're still there.
I think I just see more, and maybe I wasn't a parent and I was young, so maybe I wasn't paying attention like that. But from what I gather from other people as well, it's just, you know, men are just caring more about being there. It's not just, and also maybe this also has to do with, maybe it's like an equality thing. Maybe now, like straight up, I do like 3 things. My lady makes more money than me.
Yeah.
And like maybe that is also helping because the ladies carry more of the weight than they were allowed to back then. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's easier for us to kind of. Yeah. And you know what, man? I fucking love everything. Like, there's nothing like. I could be so exhausted and play with my daughter all day, and that exhaustion wouldn't hit me until she goes to sleep, you know? And then I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, she's the only thing that just, like, when I'm with her, like, there's nothing else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, savor that, buddy. Savor it, because there'll come a day and times where you're like, the fuck out of my face.
I know, man. I know.
Stop
I'm scared for that
me.
shit. I want at least till, like...
Why are you calling me a bitch?
When Buddy was like, from about 12 to 18, they're not going to like you.
No, it goes in waves. There's ups and downs constantly. But you'll never regret it.
Yeah. All I know is, like, my daughter is never going to feel the way that I feel about... I don't even know my dad. Like, that's my, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, my mom was... just not together back then. She had me when she was 16. Like, my mom didn't have, you know.
Oh my God, teen pregnancies with ADHD are so common. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's that impulsivity, right? I was a really wild teenager too.
Yeah.
And it's that impulsivity of, it's like, we can't. Yeah. Yeah, we like the attention, and then we like to party, and that's like, yeah.
So now, you know that you're older, your kids are older.
Yeah.
You're going back in time to visit yourself. Give yourself one piece of advice with the parenting thing.
Wow.
What would that be?
Fucking relax. Relax. Like, not everything you do is going to affect them so much. You don't have to be so strict. You don't have to be so regimented. Like,
did you stress a lot about like cleaning and things like that?
Everything.
Just
I'm super, and that comes a lot with ADHD in women because we lack control, then we take control, so we tend to have OCD. So I have super OCD tendencies.
I have that as well.
Yeah. So that's why you were said, oh, you're super punctual. Like I have, because I'm time blind, I have no concept of time. I actually have a math learning disability that was uncovered in my testing. It's called dyscalculia. So I actually have no concept of time. I can't do simple math. I don't do directions. Like, and so I have no concept of time, but I'm so controlled with my time to the point where it's actually ended relationships for me because I'm so OCD about my time. I plan every minute of every day. Like, it's crazy. All I do is calculate time from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. I'm like, okay, in an hour I'll start getting ready. Like when it was to get ready to come here, I'm like,
you're like that. Yeah, I
1
remember.
hour I will get ready. Yeah, and you gave me like 2-3 hours notice that it was going to be 30 minutes
You're
later,
like,
and I
thank you.
appreciate. But I tell you, I appreciate that
Yeah.
because it's like that sort of stuff can really throw me off. Like it can wreck my whole day if someone's super late or if something was supposed to happen then someone canceled, and I'm like, oh my god. That's when I sometimes think I might have autism because it's like I'm very black and white with certain things, but it comes a lot with ADHD as well. It's because we have no control innately, but then we try to gain control, and then when we find something that works, we're very OCD about it.
Yeah, I generally feel like I don't want to find out things like that, you know? And I never wanted to. Okay, so before my daughter was born, I had to go do a bunch of shit just to make sure she was going to be okay. But before that, I was just like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know if I have anything. And the tests that I've done, like they're good. I don't really have like any shit that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I feel like I don't like knowing that I have ADHD. Do you know?
Oh my god.
I feel like
of course I know. I get it. Some people want to know. I'm the type that's like I'm a Dr. Google.
Yeah. That's my
For me, the more I know, the better I feel and the less my anxiety is.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, I'm the type that it's like, if I have a growth on my face and I Google it and it gives me every option under the sun, I'm also very level-headed. Mm-hmm. I know that I'm not the professional, but I need to know what options are in front of me and then I'm cool. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of people, if they Google, they panic. They're like, I can't do this. I don't want to know. Like, that's the sort of, like, would you, people always say, like, you know, like the, would you rather stuff, like those games, like, would you want to know, like, the date, time, and place that you die and how? Like, that's how you know, like, what kind of person you are. You see, already now I know because you've told me that. I would.
Yeah.
Like, I'd want to prepare. I always love to prepare. I want to know
I feel like
everything.
it would hinder how I live.
Yeah.
Do you know? And, like, fair enough for you. Like, there's no real...
That's what I'm saying. It depends on your personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. But uncovering stuff, it can also, like, for me, it's changed my life. And, like, I actually just wrote a blog for CADAC. It's the Canadian ADD Association. That talks about, they call it the 3-year reckoning. So my therapy center is ADHD affirming and all that. And they have this notion where, and she's seen it in her practice for all her years, it's called a 3-year reckoning, where typically around 3 years after someone gets diagnosed, their life starts coming together. Things are happening that they never thought would be happening before, right? And this is, and when you're saying all the shit that I'm doing, like, when people say it, I can't believe that it's me. Because I cannot believe all the things that I'm doing, and I'm only 2+ years in. I'm not even at year 3 yet, you know? And so all the things that I'm doing, I 100% attribute to finally getting diagnosed and getting my life together the way I wanted to. Even though it was together before, I never had addiction. Well, food.
Yeah, okay.
ADHDers always have some sort of addiction compulsion. So binge eating was mine. So I've lost like 60 pounds over the last 5 years. So food is my dopamine. Like, fucking a Big Mac's my cocaine. And I know how you feel about McDonald's. But I'll never give that shit up. I'm telling you. But food, for sure. Food and shopping. Food and shopping are the things that I have a hard time not doing. But it's like, so why is a Big Mac better than, like, cocaine or weed? And it's like, people, like, think one's the lesser evil. Why? Like, it's going to kill my arteries just as much as weed's gonna kill a brain. So it's like, why do we judge each other? Like, we're all self-medicating in some way. The older we get, especially. But it's like, getting the healthy coping strategies is what matters if you want to
Mm-hmm.
live a long life and be successful, is what I always say when I advocate when it comes to ADHD. Like, getting it in check. You know, on average, the stats show, and I can bout stats like crazy, the stats show getting it in check, and especially medicating for it, people live on average 22 years longer than someone who isn't, right? So it's like, you know, is that important to you? You want to live? Like, it's, yeah.
Well, you know, like, kids change a lot of things about you.
Oh,
I was always the guy who was like, when I go, you know, I just want to kind of live, and then you have a kid and you're like, fuck, maybe.
Right? That's what I said about a legacy, right? I know.
You know, maybe I want to see her grow up. Maybe I don't want to. It's not like I wanted to die, you know, but I just didn't care. I was just kind of like, I didn't care about
But again, that's your
prolonging my
childhood
life.
trauma. Like,
You know?
what you went through as a kid, Paul, no one should go through.
And I feel like things like that, like control, like they have some like power over me. Like knowing that I have ADHD, like weighed me down. Like I had an excuse. Like I have very low, I don't know, maybe it's just my upbringing, but like a low tolerance for excuses.
Me too.
Do you know?
I did. I'm so much better now.
And it's like, I'm
Me
getting
too,
better.
yeah.
I'm definitely getting better, but
Me
it's
too.
like,
I'm
fuck
that. I had a problem childhood too. Like,
and like, I don't want to be, and I think this is most people, but like, I don't want to be treated differently. You know, and it's like, fuck. Even if I like had
But in some ways
autism,
you
like I
have
probably
to.
wouldn't tell anybody. Do you know?
Yeah,
Like
I
I
know.
don't.
and that's what I hate, because it's what makes you amazing.
I just
too,
want
right?
to live. I just want to live, and you know that.
Yeah.
Fuck. But then it's like, my lady thinks I might have diabetes.
So that's
She's
very
like,
common
you
for
need to
people
go,
with
and I got
ADHD.
like
Yeah.
a thing to
Glucose
go get
test,
blood taken and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like now I kind of like, when she first brought it up, I was like, nah. But I was like, I think I need to know now.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's
Things are
progress.
changing, but like, I don't
That's
know.
progress. Yeah. Well, it's tough, man.
I'm not big on pills either. I'm not very big on like the pharmaceutical industry, or like I feel like even, you know what's weird, man? Even like my daughter getting sick, and they're trying to like just give her shit.
What?
And they're like, they don't know what the issue is, but like, just
Here's
take
some
this.
antibiotics. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not,
Get out of my office.
like, no. Yeah, and I feel I fucking,
No, I get that too.
it bugs me.
Yeah.
But that whole system is just messed up. That's just like, are we trying to solve problems, or are we trying to
Make problems. I know.
Yeah.
And that's why I battle a lot about the pharmaceutical industry when it comes to stimulants and Adderall and that whole bullshit that people have this beliefs and feelings around it, and it sucks because it saves lives just as much as anything. But I know. But I get it. And look what we went through with the pandemic and vaccinations, and it's like, how do people have faith in these systems when you know it's just like all for fucking money? I get it. But I've changed a lot fundamentally, was going through my genesis. I was a major, like,
Well, you got to. I mean,
I
growth
fought
is...
the anti-vaxxers. Like, I lost friends because of it, because
Yeah.
I'm such a pro-vaxxer.
Okay.
And I was like, and that was before I was diagnosed too. So I was like a dog with a bone. I didn't know how to stop when I was arguing. So that is part of it. Like, conflict seeking is very common with ADHDers, and because it gives us dopamine, it feels good. So that's why we like to roast people, and we're comedians.
Debate.
Because it feels
things.
great. Yeah, it feels great. And also we're really smart, so we have to in order to stay engaged in life. Otherwise, life is not worth living. But the conflict seeking part is really difficult, and without medication and stuff, I didn't know how to pull back. So I used to get into fucking fights with people about vaccines. It was bad.
Yeah. I was
going a little cuckoo.
Man, my stance
going a
on
little
that,
cuckoo.
we don't need to go
And
too
now
deep.
I'm like, do you, boo? I don't give a shit.
Well, like, I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
I only got vaccinated because I would have lost my job, wouldn't have been able to make money.
Yeah.
That was where I was at.
Yeah.
My stance, it's not like I don't believe in
I
some
don't care.
vaccines.
Yeah.
I want them to be tested. I felt like it was just too rushed. And, like,
Yeah.
that's just where I was. Obviously, I have it now, and, like,
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, in the last 6 months, I've been sick like 4 times.
Yeah.
One time I was sick for like a month.
That's because we're all wearing fucking masks and shit, and it's like, it sucks. Now we're all exposed to everything all the time.
Oh, dude, like working in a kitchen with one of those
I don't know
fucking
how I
masks
couldn't do
on.
it.
Insane.
And that's I don't know if
It
it's
was a
like a
rough
sensory
time.
thing for me. Like, I can't, when I'm like stifled, I can't handle it. I don't know how the hell people did it. I don't.
Yeah, I was like, I wore that shit. I always got mad at the people that were like,
me too,
at Walmart holding up lines.
Me
like,
too.
bro,
I'd be
no
like
one wants to
looking at
wear
them.
this shit. Put your fucking mask on so we can go shopping. You know, like
I'd be like the one staring, like,
yeah,
no, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Here I am, dying with my mask, fogging up my fucking glasses. What about you? What are you so fucking special for? Now I just don't say it out loud all the time, you know. So it is. It's nice.
Some good. I think for me came from the pandemic though, and I started this podcast for the pandemic.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
You know, you found out your thing, so it's not all bad. I mean, you gotta try to look at the positives. Do you know?
What else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We lived through it. We're here now. It happened. There's been worse. There's gonna be worse. You know?
Oh, man.
You know, do you worry about that? I worry about the kind of world we're bringing our kids into. It's fucking insane. Global warming and the wars, and it's just like, what's happening? Things are going backwards. I worry about that. It's like, and that's why I used to like judge people who like didn't want to have kids, because I was like, how can you not? Like, that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like why we're here, and it's. But now I get it, man.
I feel like I need at least one. We're on the fence for a second one, because I'm like, you know,
world.
I honestly, like, there's so much shit going on, but then it's like, we have Aaliyah. When we die, it's like, well, I don't have, like, an extended family. Like, she doesn't have, like, grandpa and grandma from my side. Like, it doesn't exist, you know? And,
she needs
it's like,
family.
we want that. We're just weighing it. We're like, okay, well, when we had Aaliyah, we started giving our pets less attention. Are we going to give Aaliyah less attention when we have... You know, it's just the things that you think of. And
but
you gotta,
that's true.
You will.
Yeah.
You only have a finite amount of time.
That's right.
And it's like, fuck. We can give her all this attention and spoil her more. And,
yeah. To each his own, man.
It's so hard.
I do that a lot now.
If I was just balling and didn't have to worry about money, I would have fucking... Right? Well, I say I. You know, I don't know how my lady feels, but I would like want more kids for sure. Yeah. But just like, I don't know, you own a house. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'll ever own a house. Yeah. Man. I know. It's what? When did you get your place?
Oh, well, we bought, like, I got married in 2008, so we always bought since then.
16 years
But, I mean,
ago.
I'm so lucky with my dad, however he was. My dad's done really well. Actually, he's one of my inspirations, and it's crazy to say that now, because, like, he's, you know, kind of a dick, but he's an entrepreneur, and he's just incredible. But, yeah, so he helped us out, you know, which was good. So he did help us with our first house and all that, and that makes a huge difference. But I don't know how people do it these days. You just rent. You just know you're going to rent for the rest of your life. You either just come to terms with it, and then the younger generation, hopefully you'll inherit something from your kids. So hopefully my kids will get my house. I don't know how they're going to do it otherwise. I don't know. It's insanity.
Like, the only way my daughter would, like... Well, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say...
You never know,
because,
man.
like, I am trying. You know, like, I really want to kind
of course,
make it happen. It's... In the performance world, any art, any kind of fucking performance, like, it's a long game generally. Yeah. You have your shining stars, but for most people, it's generally the long game. And
I have no actually ambitions, and that's the weird thing, that when coming into this industry, like, a lot of people when they saw me at first were like, "Oh my God, like, you have a lot of talent. You could be big. Like, there's no women who are older that are that funny and that sort of thing." And I'm honestly not that funny. But people see it and they're like, "Oh, you know, don't you want to make this your career?" No, actually, I don't care. I don't care if this goes anywhere for me. I have way bigger ambitions, and I have a really good job. Like, and so I have something already. But yeah, try to make it in comedy. I don't know.
I met people in Second City that were like doing the class, paying for the classes. Yeah. That were like, there was just a couple people that I know, like, were just teachers. They were just there so they could connect with their students better. One of them was a teacher for like she worked at a school for like deaf kids.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's awesome.
And so she was just like, a lot of people, like at least half of, like, you know, my classes were people that some just wanted to write, some just wanted to be able to do their job better, and like, you know, so to each their own. Whatever you're in it for, you're in it. You're good at it.
Yeah. I would love to tour the world and motivationally speak, like that sort of thing. I would love to do, but yeah, comedy. That would always leak into it. I'm always gonna be, you know, the cussing mom on stage that's gonna tell it like it is. But yeah, comedy. It's like, what are the fucking odds? Like it's crazy. I'm very realistic.
And this area is so saturated with like that kind of stuff, man. You
Yeah.
go to like I don't. Have you ever like gone to like Niagara Falls or like another?
No, I
like
want
another
to.
area.
I want to go to
Burlington?
Yuck
Like,
Yucks in Niagara.
dude, like
I hear it's fine.
I don't know if I want to say this on here, but like the caliber of comedians in the GTA,
Yeah.
dude, like. I consider
it's good,
myself
right?
decent.
Yeah.
I do. I'm like
But you were gonna say it's good.
mid upper level.
Yeah.
I would say for like where I'm at.
Yeah.
But like
I agree.
dude, if you went to like Niagara Falls, you'd be like fucking Taylor Tomlinson. Like just it's weird because, and that's not. I'm not trying to take shots at anyone,
No,
but
I mean,
like
I know, but I've seen some.
I did Niagara Falls like recently. I don't know when this is coming out. Recently, and like it was my first time doing the yucks there, and I was like wedged in the middle because like it was my first time and people didn't know me there. I only knew one comedian. It was his first time there as well. He's from Toronto,
go.
Steve DeGuy.
Yeah.
Steve DeGay.
For my notes. Yeah.
And like it was like rough. It was rough.
I've seen some rough stuff, and that's what actually motivated. That's what made me less scared, because like I've seen some people who've been doing it for like years, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, like it's
I
like
feel like especially the young ones.
Oh man,
This
young
is what I'm
ones,
feeling like.
and like, yeah. What do you mean by young ones, though?
I have this whole thing about like in my own comedy where I talk about the pussification of the next generation.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like comedy is dying. I don't know if you've heard like how Seinfeld talks about comedy and what's happening, and like it's just like people are pussies, like, and because of cancel culture it sucks. And so I feel like the younger generation, everyone's just such like, yeah, they're just like, they don't have the balls to go there. They don't have the life experience to really talk about what's funny, but the other part of it is like they're so afraid to offend people. They need to be so coddled and accepted, and there's like, I've like been asked to do shows where it's like I needed to be censored, and they told me what I can and can't talk about. We can't do racism. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to talk about then?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be too dirty. You can't be too racist. I'm like, this is insane. Like, censoring comedians? Like, where has the world come to? So I always have this thing where I'm like, we're taking comedy back. Like, it's such bullshit.
No, I'm super against that. When I
can't believe it.
Actually, dude, now that I have a show on June, I want to say it's June 28th at Rec Room. You should hop on.
Oh, I love it.
I'm doing 2 shows there.
I would love it.
But yeah, so I do a show called Knee Slapper City, and generally when I do it in Mississauga, like I
gotta hit up
the
your
last
Mississauga
2 months.
Yeah.
I did it in Toronto, like Comedy Bar. But like it started in Mississauga. It's a Mississauga show, and I do like a 7 p.m. and a 9 p.m. And the first time I did it, I like sent the guy who deals with all the events like an email. It was just like, hey man, any feedback, and what I could do, blah blah blah. And like his thing was like, and so I had a bit. I mean I still have it. I haven't done it in a little bit, but just about talking how like I don't think parents or like people need 8 hours of sleep, and it's kind of in the subject of parenting, and there's like kind of a little more at the beginning, but basically it's just saying, I don't need that, and the only reason I did cocaine back in the day was so I could be a good parent down the road, and like that prepared me for like the sleepless nights and shit.
It's true.
And then another comedian came on, and she was like, I hope the security has an Narcan, and she was just kind of like, riffing off what I said. And then there's a security guard there, and he like told the people at Rec Room that like, they were talking about like Narcan and all this stuff, and he's like, would you be able to, so the first email he sent me back was like, how did it go on your end? I had some feedback from a security guard who said like content and like, I don't know if we're going to be able to like move the show forward if we don't, censor and blah, blah, blah. And I was really close to being a dick. And my lady's awesome.
What?
I really like sometimes, man.
Isn't it good to have someone to bounce stuff off?
It really is. Someone who's
back,
like
buddy.
different.
Yes.
Like I couldn't imagine being in a relationship with someone like me.
Well, that's what happened to me, and it was explosive.
Yeah. And she was like, nope, you got to be professional. You have like a business now, and like you're doing this, and you need to really kind of look at it from there. And
Yes.
so, I sat on it for a couple days.
Good for you, buddy.
And then like later I was like, I understand your concern. And I've never had anybody complain at my shows anything before. I have content warnings on the thing, but maybe moving forward, because Rec Room is owned by Cineplex, right?
Yeah.
And so my thing was like, well, Cineplex plays rated R movies and PG movies.
Yeah.
So how do you guys go about telling, your people?
Put your warnings.
Maybe we could implement that. And so I started putting like 19 plus signs around like the room. So like kids, because it's Rec Room, right? There's kids around.
Okay.
And so they were just like, but like the important part was that I was like, I'm not comfortable like telling the comedians what to say, but maybe we could like warn the people before they come in. We could say like, this show's rated R, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
However you guys do movies, maybe we could do that. And he was like, that's a good idea and blah, blah, blah. So I started doing that. But like initially I was like really, because I hate that shit too, man.
For me, there is no line in comedy.
See, everyone has their own line and that's cool,
have...
but it's about controlling people and being like, well, this is where my line is, so that's where your line should be too.
Yeah.
It's like, have your line, man, but don't try to...
No, there's never, like, honestly, if my mother died tomorrow and someone made a joke of it, like, that's me. Like, there's no line. I will go everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And a comedian should.
I think so.
Yeah.
But whatever, everyone has their own style, but it's like, it's as much an art as anything. And it's like your expression of yourself and your deepest, darkest self. And it's like, it's actually a very beautiful thing to be that vulnerable and for me to be able to talk about dating again and all this bullshit that's real and raw about my life.
Fupa joke. No,
yeah,
that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucked up pussy action. No, it's the fat upper pubic area. Yeah, the gunt.
The gunt. Yeah, that's the old school. Yeah. I remember the bit. Yeah, it's a good
bit. Talk about that. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm really disappointed in comedy lately. And I find people are getting less funny. Like I fell in love with comedy, like with Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, word.
That's how I fell in love with comedy. The Hickory Dickory Dock.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's in the bowl, bitch?
That's my favorite.
So good.
Yeah. And so it's like, come on, Carlin is like, come on.
Yeah, Carlin is
what was it? The 7 deadly swears. What was it? Shit, piss, cunt. Like what you weren't allowed to say in comedy back then. Like, it's just like, man, I can't believe where we've come to. Where it's like some of the best comedians like are being censored now. Like it's so unfair.
It's everything. It's not even comedians. It's just everything.
Everything and everyone.
There was like a shitload of people that were like, I had comedians and like people that I talked to on a regular basis like delete me because I was playing Hogwarts fucking Legacy, a video game, because fucking J.K. Rowling said some shit.
Oh, don't get me started. I've had debates about the J.K. Rowling.
I was like, anyways, wherever you stand on that, I'm just playing a fucking video game, yo. Like, get the fuck off my back. Like,
I love your butter.
And they complain about things like that, but then it's like they haven't made a single post about like, I don't know, fucking Palestine-Israel conflict. And it's like, so you say you're like, some sort of fucking freedom fighter.
But it is an advocate, but it is, yeah.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
Fuck, I feel like it's not.
An advocate or a protester or, but it is. Put your money where your fucking mouth is. And you're fighting these stupid little fights. So I hate, you're going to look it up?
Yeah, no, you can keep going. I'll be quick.
You're right. I hate this whole movement where people are like censoring and canceling shit and changing history. Like Egerton Ryerson, like Ryerson had to be renamed because of his past. And it's like, what are we spending our time on here? We're wasting time on shit. Did you find it?
No.
We're wasting time on shit. And it's like, you're erasing history, language, art. Like, this is where it's bothering me so much. It's like, how about if you spend all that time actually going to a protest, actually learning.
Doing something that's actually going to... Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're like
canceling Aunt Jemima.
Defacing a statue. It's like, go fuck
fucking that lady on the maple syrup thing is like, ruining the world.
Whoever cared? Whoever cared?
Never met one black person that complained about Aunt Jemima in my life.
That's why it's like, I'm a heavy advocate for everything, but it's like, this is insanity, what people are choosing to do. And I call that virtue signaling. So where it's like, oh, yeah, we're doing, like, just like during Pride Week, every company will have a week of, oh, we're going to have rainbow this, rainbow that. What are they actually doing? Like,
just for show.
So that's what we call virtue signaling. So it's like, what are you doing? Put your money where your fucking mouth is. But canceling history? We learn from history.
Yeah.
Banning Dr. Seuss books? That man was an artist. And we're creatives. Like,
what did they do that?
Yeah,
Dr. I missed the Dr.
There's
Seuss
so
thing.
much
That's
shit that's
hilarious.
been canceled, and this is where I take it personally because
Yeah.
I love art and poetry, and you're an artist. We're creatives, you know, and society moves forward. So people that created that stuff, like, they didn't realize what they were doing, or they were just living with the times. And it's like, you can educate. I can now educate my kids if I'm reading that book. If it's something that's wrong, I'll talk to her about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like erasing somebody that was someone's livelihood, what they lent to this world. Like, it really bothers me. You know, when it comes to rap, like canceling, like Kanye. Honestly, I'm a huge Kanye fan, and
I
don't
think
care
a
what
lot of
anybody
people owe Kanye an
It's
apology.
like-
You know, that's all I'm saying.
I'm a huge fan. His latest album's fucking awesome. His
I
lyrics,
can't
I
get-
listen
I
to
haven't-
his lyrics, and I'm literally laughing, crying. Like, he's incredible.
I like him.
He's a troubled individual.
Definitely, but like, who isn't? Speaks his mind.
Yep.
And like,
He's
just-
crazy. I don't agree.
I
with
don't.
things
I
he
haven't
said.
really listened to anything
Oh my
in
God.
a while.
It's amazing.
You know,
He's one of my favorite
It's
artists.
not. Oh yeah. Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Respect him though. Respect.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing.
He's
And,
a creative genius. He's a creative genius.
I think.
And he's a little different. And he's been diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar, all this shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
he's tried to battle against it. But he's living in a world where he doesn't belong. And he is bigger than this, whatever this is. And that's hard to be a person like that. And that's how probably you felt a lot. Like, this, people like us, we feel like that a lot. We're in this world where it's like, am I the only one seeing this stuff? Am I the only one caring about this stuff? Yeah, because you are special. Actually.
And the amount of balls it takes for someone in his position to say
Yep.
and like expose some of the things,
Yeah.
you know, that he has. He just has so much more to lose than like me or you. You know what I mean?
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. he
You,
doesn't care.
how can you not respect that?
Yeah. The other thing is he's fucking hilarious. Like, a lot of the things is people take things that he's saying seriously. He's either, sometimes he's fucking drunk or on drugs. He just doesn't give a shit. He's just trying to troll people and get a rise out of people. And he'll say this in his, you have to listen to his lyrics in his rap. He's like, and I'm still the heaviest in the media, no matter what I said. Like, because it's like he tests people. Like, it's so ridiculous because he's on another level. Anyway, it's not just him. It's the Elon Musks. It's like, but it's like, these are people that are just on another level and they sort of play with us.
I don't like Elon Musk though. I'll be real.
I don't like
We don't
him.
need to go there.
I actually don't think Elon Musk is a good human. But
No,
he has
that's
autism,
where we're
so
at.
he doesn't know how to be a human. I think he's just kind of like a robot.
Fucking
He's got
imagine.
some, I
though.
think he has some evil ideas.
Oh yeah.
If him and like Kim Jong-un got together, buddy, imagine him and Putin get together. Let's keep those fuckers apart. I'll tell you that.
Matter of time. You know. All right. Do you want to get into top five? I feel like we were kind of
Let's do it.
like
We're getting
tiptoeing
heavy.
around the issue,
Okay. Sure.
the topic, not the issue of comedians.
Oh, top 5 comedians.
Yeah. Did you want to start?
Yeah, so yeah, Andrew Dice Clay. So I should probably start with like my first love. So Andrew Dice Clay was one of my first loves. Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Murphy's both, Raw and Delirious. Those were like epic. I watched
I'd like
those
him to.
over and over.
Yeah.
But he's one I feel like he's kind of been canceled and is just like resigned.
Wait, he's been canceled?
I think he's just kind of given up on the industry because the industry really fucked up.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had an interesting
He's-
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's great. Who else? I loved Chris Rock in his younger day. Females, and it's funny because I was trying to think of female comedians. I honestly, there aren't many that I'm like think are hilarious. Ali Wong is very much kind of my style. So when she came out, I was like, oh, she's awesome. And I like Sarah Silverman a lot. But I love like Bill Burr, Ricky Gervais,
There's this.
Carlin. Like there's so many. Tom Segura. Like just really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know? Have you seen the Degenerates on Netflix?
I've seen a little bit of it, but people keep telling me about it.
So like Joey Diaz has one.
Joey Diaz
there's a
fucking
bunch of people that you would
hilarious.
recognize,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I discovered like my favorite female comedian on there. Her name's Adrienne Appalucci.
I haven't heard of her.
Yeah, I'm telling
Okay.
you, I feel like you would
Okay,
like her.
okay.
Watch this.
Yeah.
The Degenerates.
Okay.
Adrienne Appalucci. It's like 15 minutes.
gotta
It's a
watch it.
solid fucking 15 minutes. She's. I don't know if she's doing it now, but like last year she was opening for Louis C.K. Like
Oh, wow.
she's there, and like definitely not your typical. It's kind of what you said. Like people are afraid to like take risks.
Yeah.
She's not.
Yeah. No.
She's not your typical female. She kind of fights the norm a little bit.
Okay, I love it.
And is. I think you would like her.
Okay, I'll have to
Yeah. I'll send you. I'm so certain that you like her. I'm gonna send you the link.
I bet you I've
leave
seen
here.
clips of her on like Instagram, but since I've done comedy, I've actually tried to stay away from watching too much of it because I don't want to rip anything off, and I have so much of my own material that I've been just building up for years that it's like, I don't want to rip anyone off.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah.
Dave Chappelle. Mark Forward.
Chappelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
Black
he's
white supremacist, back in the show days, too. It's amazing. But he's also so smart and political.
That's it, too.
He's on another
I couldn't
level.
Also, like
his whole trans stuff was brilliant. Like, he's cool, man.
It's good, but, like, I do prefer older Chappelle. Like, I liked... Okay, so his newest
Before he got
special,
too angry.
His last... I don't care about the anger. That's fine. I love Bill Burr. Well, we'll get there.
I love Bill Burr.
But, like, I think it's, like, some of it is, like... He's playing to his audience now, and I just...
You're right.
I like
selling out a bit.
When he started his
right.
last special,
Yeah.
it seemed like he was going in a different direction, and I was like, nice, dude, blah, blah, blah.
Like when he came back, you mean?
No, like his very last one that he did. I think it actually might have come out January 1st or something like that.
Oh, this is the one I haven't seen yet. I've been staying away, yeah.
And so it kind of... His last bunch of ones, he kind of talks about trans stuff throughout all of them.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like sprinkled in there, all of it. It's like a main theme. And then... This new thing comes out, and he's the first 5 minutes he's talking about like just something different. Hasn't talked about it, and then boom, right into trans stuff. And as soon as he did the trans stuff, it's not that it's not funny, but I was like, fuck, man, like I thought you were gonna.
It's played out for him.
Like we know how you feel, dude. Like move on, we get it.
People are just like with a dog with a bone.
But anything he could say will be interesting and entertaining.
He's brilliant too.
He could talk for like hours without even making like he did that half-hour thing after George Floyd. Was killed.
Oh my god.
And like there was like 2 jokes in there.
Yeah.
And it was like a half-hour long, and like I was captivated the whole time, you know.
When he was sitting like by the fireplace.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And that was a good one.
He's cut from good cloth too, right? His parents. He's super intelligent. Yeah.
So Mark Forward, Canadian guy from Oakville.
Okay.
He's on like Letterkenny and Mr. D and some other shit.
I love Mr. Jerry D. I saw Jerry D live a long time ago. He's awesome.
That show is so good.
Yeah, man.
Such an underrated show. And then I'm going Carlin and Bill Burr.
Yeah.
That's my top 5.
Bill Burr, man, his rants, and Larry David. He's not a stand-up comedian, but Larry David is one of my I call myself the female Larry David. It's like
that Curb. Did you watch the last season?
No, I haven't. I've only actually watched like maybe 5 or 6 seasons. I have a lot of catching up to do. I don't want to pay for like HBO and shit.
That's great. But
he's so funny, man.
Such a good show.
I live my life like his. Like that foot and mouth disease. It's ridiculous.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's awesome.
All right, let's do superheroes. I'll do mine first, and then you can go through yours.
But not like superheroes. Like
no, it's
Marvel.
whatever you're fucking... Yeah, whatever. I open it up because I'm like a bit of a nerd, and so I asked this question to everybody, the superheroes thing.
Because you have these like coasters, so now I'm thinking you really actually did mean... Okay, and I did
when I started it, that's all it was. But then I had more people that were like, yo, I don't like superheroes. And I was like, okay, just...
Okay, first of all, I think superheroes are super fucking lame. So I don't
like real superheroes.
Yeah, I'm not into those movies, but I did love X-Men, and that's why when I told you, like the only one I actually do love is Rogue. I so identified with Rogue as a character because I thought it was like things that she touch, she can turn to ice and fucks up situations like that. I felt like that my whole life. I was always like, yeah.
All right.
But no, so that's the only one that I'll ever say. But yeah, I'm not a fan of those movies. But like like heroes in real life, it's so hard to say because it's like I don't. Like, for me, real life, and it's so cliche to say, but, like, real life superheroes are, like, my heroes. Like, like, my sister had stage 3 breast cancer, and watching her move through that with 2 kids and fucking commanding her life the way she did is incredible. Like, I volunteer at tons of places, like, youth centers, like, the kids that I see there and the adversity they've seen, like, kids like you and what they've come through, like, for me, honestly, those are, like, my heroes. Like, I volunteer at an adult day program for adults with, like, mental disabilities, like Downs and Alzheimer's and dementia. Like, there's this one guy who's, like, he's, like, one of my biggest heroes. Ron, shout out. Maybe I'll get him to see this. But he's, like, in a wheelchair. He got hit by a drunk driver, when he was 10. And ended up in a wheelchair with permanent brain damage, and he literally can't do anything. And he learned, like, to play the piano with his left hand, which he never was left-handed. Like, there are people like that I see every day at the seniors' home that I go to. Like, they're my fucking heroes. Like, so I don't know. Like, in real life, who is it that I look up to? I'm like, oh, they're amazing. I don't know. Like, that's what's tough for me. It's because it's like, And I love to learn about people, so it's like every day I go out and I learn about people, and like they're my heroes. And it's like, talking to someone like you, yeah, like what you've been through and seeing how you've come through it, like it's just amazing. So it's hard for me to sit here and be like, people are like, oh, like Michelle Obama, I love her.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's like, okay, great. I don't know.
Fair.
So it's hard for me to think about like, who are my heroes? Who are my heroes? I don't fucking know. That's right. I even put some thought around it. I'm like, who would I say? Like, and I don't want to like just not. There's no one that I'm just like, I love these people. Like, who would you say? Like, who are your heroes?
Oh man, I'm just like I have so many.
Are you talking about
books.
like super? Oh, you're a comic book guy.
I would legit. I'll give you some real people. I am a comic book guy.
You know what? And that is that's a trauma response too. That's because that was your escape from your reality.
Oh yeah, I didn't have a childhood, so now I like. I
love
am like
shit.
still, and I'm not ashamed. I love all my shit.
No, why would you
be
ashamed? It's
but I know
amazing.
what it is. I know what it is. Look. I was working at 13 years old. I was poor. I was I couldn't live like a kid when I was younger, so I get to enjoy the things that I should have enjoyed when I was younger now.
I'm lucky I did. I was a privileged kid, to be honest. I was a privileged kid.
Yeah. But like I do have a couple people. I'll just do my original. So Batman, Ninja Turtles.
I did love
Red
Ninja
Hood,
Turtles, okay?
Arsenal, and you're not going to know any of these people.
No.
And Spider-Man. You probably know a couple of those.
Of course.
But then, real life, I would say, for sure, my Nana.
Yeah.
Like, my Nana was just, the best kind of person that people are. Like, she was a nurse. I have an aunt, Doreen.
Never mind nurses.
Who's not actually my aunt, but was, like, close. Like, when I lived with my Nana, she was, like, a stay-at-home nurse. She had to take care of this woman, like, 24/7,
wow.
right? She was in a wheelchair. She was diabetic.
Yep.
She ended up having to get both her legs amputated one at a time. She got like gangrene, and it spread, and it was this whole thing. And my Nana was just like there the whole time, and like was always there for me, and was basically like my mother.
See,
just was
those are the kind of people. It's like,
and was never and my Nana was like never well off. She was never in like the best position, but she never stopped giving. Do you know?
Worked hard, loving, yeah, man.
And then I would say probably my lady. I don't want. It's weird. Like
you're like saying it quietly.
Yeah, because I'm like, do I call her my girlfriend? Or it's weird. We're at this thing where we're not. Yeah, I don't really like that. My lover. Oh, fuck out of you. But she fucking she made a person. I watched her. I've never seen anything more intense than the look on my lady's face when she was pushing that. They're like, all right, it's going to take about maybe like 2 hours, 3 hours from this point. Fucking 45 minutes later, baby's out.
It's
ridiculous.
The worst.
Oh my God.
I don't know how we do it.
I don't know how you do it either. It's freaking insane.
I knew I was going to survive. Like the first time I knew, like that's what, like, because I was so scared. I don't have a great pain tolerance. Now I do because I pushed out 2 fucking kids. But it's like, I was so scared the first time around, but the only thing that gave me solace was that, like, I knew I was going to live. I was going to survive. But in the moment, you actually feel like you're going to die. Like, I was like, how are people surviving this?
Dude, when I saw the head peeking, I thought I, like, could grasp exactly the size of what's coming out.
Coming out of the pussy.
No, but, like, it seems like it's this big. And then it comes out and it's like this big, and you're like, that's a lot more baby than I thought was going to be in there.
Do you know how I like to research things? Too. How many videos I watched? I watched so many birthing videos on YouTube because I'm like, I need to know. I had to see. I was the type that like asked for a mirror, like.
Oh yeah. She didn't ask for a mirror, but she was like asking me. I don't know. She pushed the baby out and she was bleeding a little bit, and
a little bit.
Okay, it was like
shit myself. It was blood everywhere. It was fucking disgusting.
It was a bit, and I remember her asking like, "Is everything fine?" And like, I was legit worried for like 10 minutes because there was a lot of blood, man. And I was like, I fucking like everything pops in your head. I can't raise this baby alone. Like I just everything.
There's
and
the
like
overthinking. Yeah.
Just you guys put your fucking bodies on the line to
it is cool.
Make humans. That's the fucking superpower.
Yeah.
You make people. It's amazing.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's godlike.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Choice.
Even my I can't stress how much my daughter has helped me too, saved me too, like in ways.
Right?
She's a fucking superhero. She didn't even know it.
I know.
She didn't even know.
That unconditional love. That's why a lot of people with ADHD autism love animals because that unconditional love and that unspoken, like, someone just accepting you for who you are, no matter how much you're fucking up, you look like you're gonna cry.
I feel like I'm
I get
gonna cry.
emotional too.
I'm trying not
I
to.
know.
I'm
like,
an emotional guy, and I'm not generally
no,
like.
It's beautiful.
Oh.
But it is having someone love you no matter what, and you like that's what's gonna break my heart. Like you never. Oh man, yeah. When I see kids who never had that. Yeah, when I go to like the youth center, fuck, it breaks my heart. Like when you see, like you had to grow up that way, and now you have a kid, and the best part is that you're breaking that cycle. Like that's what, like, kudos to you and what you're doing, what you're achieving with your kid. Like you're never gonna let her hurt the way that you did, and that's what's important. Same with me, like breaking those generational things is so hard, but it's so important.
You make me cry, man.
I know,
fuck.
man. This is why I want to do the motivational speaking. It's like it's so super important, and so like it's such a beautiful thing for you to talk about your daughter that way. She doesn't even fucking know you're here. She can't even talk yet. Just wait, and when she can pull on your heartstrings. Like
I'm so scared of.
So
I'm
much.
like always all older. I was
if
like,
you were ever to die,
please always love me.
Says,
don't ever hate me, even when you're like I'm just.
She will. And then
I know
the kind of man you are. Like, you're gonna be a great dad. You are a great dad. And you're gonna doubt yourself all the time, but
let's all the time. But
that's it.
I've never felt like more like this is what I'm meant to do. I felt like so natural and just I don't know.
Isn't it?
I've never second guessed it.
Yeah, this is my jam. Like I know, right? I know. I felt like that as a mom too.
Yeah, I know there'll be times that stress.
Until I started screwing up, and then I was like, what am I doing here? And it's like, I'm screaming at my kids. I'm punishing them so badly. It's like, what? And that was the shittiest part, because I couldn't control it. And it was like, I was so hard on myself, because it's like, this is my jam. I was born to do this, and why am I treating her this way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
maybe it's just your, experiences and childhood.
For sure, yeah, but it's that.
All right, let's do underrated horror. Let's do that.
Oh, yeah, because I was talking about I love horror movies. Yeah. I love horror.
Gore?
Like, you heard me talk about pimple popping on stage.
Yeah,
like,
I love that shit.
I love all kind of gross shit. Nothing phases me.
Okay.
So, yeah, horror movies, that's the other thing. So, like, horror movies, like, some of them don't even faze me. Like, people will tell me it's, like, the scariest movie ever. Like, nothing scares me. Haunted houses, like, I don't know. It's very hard to faze me. So honestly, my first loves, because I have such a bad memory. Well, it's a spotty memory, but then I remember like where I was and what gave me a feeling. So the first movie that really, really shook me and scared me, I don't know if it's underrated, but Silence of the Lambs.
Okay.
And I watched that when I was like 9. Like I love that shit. It was so good. But also Candyman. I don't know if you remember Candyman.
Yeah, I do.
I think that one's underrated.
I think they remade it. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was awful. Like, but I always love originals. Like, for me, it's OG, like Nightmare on Elm Street. Those aren't underrated, though. But I am a lover of M. Night Shyamalan movies.
I fucking do too, dude.
Sixth Sense is really.
Oh my god,
it's one of my favorite movies.
I never got
the others.
Yo.
The Others is one that's super, because I love a twist, man. And because I can predict
He's
movies so well,
because
I'm fucked up. Like, I predict movies so well, but his I could never predict.
They're hard.
So cool.
You see Old?
No.
You haven't seen Old?
Is that a newer one?
Ooh, yeah. It's like, these people get trapped on like a beach.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
And they can't make it off. Oh my god,
dude. This is the thing with like
it
Netflix
ties.
and shit.
I don't even want to tell. It ties into
well.
some shit we were talking about.
Okay,
but it's
I'm
like,
gonna watch it.
Oh,
any cameos in
so
every
good.
movie
And people
too,
like
so cool.
fucking. They just age rapidly on this beach. Like someone like had sex like 10 minutes ago, and now they're like 5 months pregnant.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yo, like shit like that.
That's
like
cool.
yeah,
like
and it's really just a day on the beach. The whole movie is just the day, and then at the end.
Oh, cool.
Dude, it's really good. Old. I love him too.
Yeah.
I have one on my list. Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know.
It's so good.
Did I say a lot of them?
I don't know. Yeah, you're an M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Lover.
Yeah. I love Tarantino movies too. Like those scare me more than some scary movies. Like
that's fair.
But yeah, like the old school movies like Poltergeist, Exorcist. I love all those movies, but those people love. Yeah. What about you?
All right. So I like old school slasher movies.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's one that's it's new, but it has that vibe. It's called Girl House. I think it came out maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And really, I found out about it because the killer in the movie is one of my favorite rappers.
Who?
His name's Slane. He's like this, independent rapper from Boston.
Oh, I gotta look him up. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in like a super group with like House of Pain and a couple other guys called the Coca Nostra. But anyways, he's the killer, And the movie is basically about all these cam girls that live in a house, and like he's subscribes to all of them.
Yeah.
And then he's like this like tech guy, like IT guy, whatever, works with computers.
Yeah.
And so he can like hack into their cameras when they don't know and
Whoa.
stuff. And he sees that they're making fun of him, like behind his back.
Oh shit!
And so he goes to the house, he cuts off all the electricity, and fucking just goes to town. And like it's
bloodbath.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yo, I had to actually Google if it was horror. I was like, please be horror. It is.
Okay,
it's like a sci-fi horror.
It is, because it's freaky, man.
Yo, it's right.
Kevin
freaky.
Bacon, right?
No. That's this one has the chick from Handmaid's Tale. Do you know?
Oh yeah, that was good too. That was a newer one.
Yeah. It was a newer one. Last couple years. Tale. But it's similar to Hollow Man. Was the Kevin Bacon one.
So Invisible Man's.
Yeah, and like the movie starts with like her running away from him.
Yeah.
Yo, that's.
What's her name? Moss.
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss. She's
great. Yeah. Solid. Handmaid's Tale's fucking solid too.
So good. I have a joke material on Handmaid's Tale that I'd love to be.
Oh yeah, all right. Devil. That's my M. Night Shyamalan one. That's underrated.
Have I not seen that?
Devil is one. Like the whole movie takes place in an elevator.
Oh, get out of here! It's like
this is another one you need to see too.
Okay.
These are like
I have to follow up after because I'm gonna forget. I have to write them down after. Yeah.
He has so many fucking good ones.
He's amazing. He's an incredible guy.
And he has a new one coming out too.
See, this is the thing. I can't
Matthew
get track of this
McConaughey's
shit.
in it.
Oh, really? He hasn't been
yeah.
anything for a long time.
I think it's Matthew McConaughey. Maybe it's not. Josh. Is there Josh? Josh something. Actors with Josh. Anyways.
Josh Brolin?
Doesn't matter. No, it's not Brolin. Anyways. Devil. Whole movie takes place in an elevator, and you think it would be fucking boring.
No, that's like Saw. Not. Saw is one of my favorites. Saw.
That first
twist.
one?
Oh, that's
my
the
God.
only one. I haven't seen the other ones.
That first twist... That was a game changer, man.
I know.
It's like in the way that like Blair Witch was a game changer.
Yes,
where, like,
yes.
You know, like there was no movies like that before, but since
that's why I couldn't use those because those are over.
Yeah.
I don't think they're overrated. They're just well rated. But Saw was like mind blowing.
Holidays. That is a bunch of like it's basically a movie that has a bunch of short films inside it.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're just based on like holidays.
Okay.
And so there's like an Easter
like
Bunny one.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. There's my favorite's the Halloween one because Kevin Smith did it.
Oh, cool.
And that's how I kind of got into it. But like nobody's heard, even my Kevin Smith fans that I know, like no one's heard of it.
He's wow, what a transformation he's gone through.
I know.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, like just physically as
well.
Yeah.
Wow, physically, mentally. That's where it comes from.
And then this isn't a movie. But I felt like I liked it. It's really campy, and I know what it is. It knows what it is.
Yes, I like that.
Did you ever see Scream, the TV show?
That wasn't the movie. What do you mean, Scream? There was a Scream TV show?
Yeah.
No, but now that just reminded me of the Crypt Keeper, Tales from the Crypt. I used to love that show.
That's a good one
too.
Yo, Tales from the Crypt, Goosebumps.
But no, Scream was a show.
Yeah. So and it was like they didn't use the same mask. They used a different mask.
What?
It was a different group of kids. No, it was after. It was after. I think it was after the fourth one, in between the fourth and fifth one.
Okay.
And they did it.
Same franchise though?
And I don't know who made it. I think Craven was involved.
Okay.
And it like ended just abruptly. Like I don't think it did well, like ratings wise. But man, and it was like it was better than the last few Scream movies. I really liked the first couple Scream movies,
Me
man.
too. I love the first one.
And then it just, I don't know, something
and then
happened.
it got shitty, but the last one was okay. My daughters liked it.
And so it was just kind of like a reinvention of that. Like taking everything, but just like different people, different masks, but like same scenario types, stuff.
On Netflix, actually, it was a Netflix, Haunting of Hill House. That was a good one that I watched. That was really actually scary. And that was only like a few years ago, and that was really, really good.
All right.
Yeah.
What do we got? Okay, sexiest languages. I want to do mine first because I need to explain some things because...
Oh, by the way, you're asking me this because I said I love languages.
Yeah, and you speak like
I speak
more
3
than
languages.
One.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm an idiot. I'm French. I don't even speak
I know.
French.
I assume that you would speak French.
Yeah, yeah. Most people do. When I go to Quebec, I just show them my thing and be like, "Look, I'm one of you. Fucking treat me nice." Okay, so when I did this, when I was thinking of my list, a couple of them are just accents. Like I don't know.
Me too.
Okay. Cool. So I'm going Italian.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. That's my number one.
Okay.
British is one that is an accent
on
that
my
I
list.
fucking love.
Yeah, me too. It's on my list.
Then I'm going Spanish.
Yeah, Spanish is my number one.
I'm going to go Australian. That's another accent that I really like.
Depends.
You don't like it?
It depends.
Okay.
Sometimes it sounds a little too much.
Okay. All right. And then I'm going French. I think French is a beautiful language as well.
And your lady's like, what, Arab or something? You know, what about
she's
those
from
ones?
UAE.
You know,
But
what
she
about
doesn't
those
have really
ones?
an accent, though.
But from her family, you're hearing it a lot. So it can be sexy. I don't know. Honestly, Spanish is number one for me. Yeah. Spanish, French, Italian.
Yeah.
English. So yeah, English accent. And then I was grappling with the last one. Because I like an Irish accent too.
Yeah.
It's hot, but it's like for me, like Beckham's my fucking jam. So it's like
Beckham's probably like my gay crush. I've always said that shit.
Man.
I was like Beckham or David Boreanaz.
Oh,
those are my two. I'm like, and they're very different dudes. I mean, I'm not gay or bisexual or anything, but like I could tell you when a dude's attractive.
Me too. Same with women. I always say, like, I think I'm a little bit gay because I can appreciate a woman. I'm telling you that much.
Yeah,
I just couldn't go there.
That's fair. But David Beckham is he's a good looking dude.
Yeah. I know people are always like, "Have you heard his voice though? He sounds." I'm like, he doesn't have to talk.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in it to talk to him. Like, are people crazy? Yeah, no, he's totally one of my number ones.
All right.
But yeah.
I
love Spanish though.
This one's good. I was kind of excited to do this one.
Oh. I can't remember now. So this is the thing.
Dinner party guests.
Oh yeah.
Dead dinner party. I wanted to go dead because
Okay.
I just felt like there was more to play with.
Okay, I feel like I have more for this one.
When I say like a live dinner party, guys, just be my daughter and my lady.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, no, that's good because like there's for me, like if I could just have an hour with like Hitler.
Really?
For me, it's those like Jesus.
Have you ever heard his speeches done in English?
Yeah, some of the shit's crazy. But like Einstein, like those Tesla, like these kind of people that I'm like, like Freud, like these people who were just like on another level. Like if I could just, and with someone like Hitler, or I would just reason with them for a bit.
Yeah.
I actually have this whole joke where I compare like Hitler and Jesus. Actually,
okay,
it's controversial.
All right.
I think they're both.
It would be
little cuckoo. But yeah, like those kinds of people, if I could just pick their brain and just be like, what the fuck was going through your head?
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. But also there's people like, when it comes to like comedians, like, a George Carlin or a Robin Williams, like there's people that have left too soon. So people, like a Kurt Cobain, there's people that have like, Amy Winehouse, like there's people that have just left too soon that it's like, I would love to be able to just.
Amy Winehouse is a great one.
Yeah.
She's great.
Learn more from them, which is pretty cool. What about you? Yours very different.
No. Well, I mean, I'm...
Think of a different caliber.
I think I'm going to change one of mine. You're saying that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my Nana.
Yeah, man.
For sure. Yeah. That would be it. She would make dinner, too. Just because she's fucking so good.
Did you learn to cook from her? Did you get interested in cooking because of her?
Yeah, well, like, I'm Italian and French. That's, like, my background.
Oh, then 100%.
And so, like, she showed me how to do things, like, at a very early age. And, like, the reason So... I had almost killed myself. I was in a really rough place.
Yeah.
And I was going to counseling and therapy and stuff. And then my therapist got me into culinary, like a pre-apprenticeship culinary program. Yeah. And like everyone did really well at that program. And they offered, like they had been doing that pre-apprenticeship program for a few years. And our class had like the highest success rate of like all the years combined. And so we did so well that they were like, hey, do you want like scholarships to Humber to like continue this and actually like go to like an official school?
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And I was kind of like, yeah, but like the whole reason like my therapist even did that is I just talked about a lot of food.
Therapist, but
and like we were talking about comforting things.
What a way to show you your worth though, that you're good at something.
Yeah.
And that we need you here.
Yeah.
What a fucking good therapist. How old were you?
I was in my 20s.
What a great therapist, man.
She was great. Rose Rebello. I remember her name.
Rose Rebello. Shout out.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing. And that's what I try to do at the youth center is I talk to the kids about what they're good at. Because most kids who are neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, are gifted at something.
But I talked about some stuff in like my Nana cooking. And like the whole reason I even did that was because I wanted to replicate the soup that my Nana used to make me as a kid.
What was it?
It's just like, it's Italian chicken. I think she called it chicken pasta.
So it's kind of like...
So it was like a thing that was kind of introduced to her on like Fridays when you weren't allowed to like eat meat and stuff. And there was a lot of chickpeas and veggies in it.
Oh, nice.
Tomato broth.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she eventually like added chicken to it, and it just became this staple. And I hadn't had it for such a long time.
Yeah.
And like it literally was something that like weighed on my mind, and so like I wanted to go to school so I could just learn flavors better and be able to make it. I could fucking nail it now.
Oh my
I'm
God.
sure hers would be better
it.
somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my Nana, number one for sure. A couple years ago, one of my best friends, Tom McDonald, passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He had a son, like that was like 10. He had just kind of... He came from like a rough upbringing as well. Just around a lot of drugs. Sold drugs. Turned his life around. And it's like... Started doing great. Was on like just, a couple years sobriety. Other than weed.
Sure.
And then just like died in his sleep one night. And this was like the first funeral. Like I was talking to you about how like I felt bad about going to funerals. Yeah. When my Nana died, and I didn't go see, like, I don't know if we were recording at that point, but I didn't go to a lot of friends that died for whatever reason, or people that I knew, family members, girlfriends, family members. I just didn't go to any of them because it killed me too much.
That's traumatic, yeah.
This was the only funeral I've ever been to, was my buddy Tom.
Yeah.
And it was open casket.
It's weird, eh?
It's fucking so crazy weird. Like I just remember like touching him.
And it's not real, right?
So
I know.
I've never cried more in my life.
Fucked up? I know.
Tom, I love you, bro. I don't even know if I believe in God or anything, but like, he would be my number 2. I have a video on YouTube that is just one of my sets, like early on. It's not even a great set. I just put it on YouTube so I could see my growth, and be like, this is where I started. This is where I am now.
Good for you.
And he was at that show and he laughs a lot at it. And sometimes I just watch it to hear his laugh, I'm not even joking.
Oh my God. Oh, I hear you. I know.
And then I'm going, this is just someone that I just like, Chester Bennington. My dog is named after Chester.
I don't know. And your cat's named after someone I don't know either. Who's Chester Bennington?
Chester Bennington is the singer of Linkin Park.
Oh, fuck. His name was Chester?
Yeah.
Why do I not know that? Oh, yeah.
And so that's
incredible
our dog's name,
You kind of
Chester
look
Bennington.
like him, actually.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if I shave a little more.
Hard.
So he was like, I don't know if you're like this, but I was, for most of my life, when celebrities would die and people would like post something, I'd be like, you didn't fucking know this person.
Yeah.
And I was that guy, and I criticized people that fucking cared about celebrities that died, that meant something to them, and then it took Chester.
But you feel like
for
you
me,
know
I was
because of the
literally
music, right?
at work, yo. I don't know, like, you kind of know a little bit about my childhood, but like music and TV, I was raised by music and TV.
Music is part
I'm not even lying.
of my therapy.
So like I have comfort, like Fresh Prince. I've seen every episode of Fresh Prince like 1,000 times.
I have a bit about nails when I do that.
Yeah.
Sitting on a basement.
Yeah.
Just a girl getting on my nerves.
Yeah,
I have a whole bit about it. It's so good.
And so like, certain things just...
I know. They're just so important to you.
Yeah, and when he died, I had friends like message me at work. Someone messaged me like, "Did you hear about Chester?" Like people were messaging me, texting me, checking up on me because like
really
Linkin Park was such a huge part of who I was, or who I am still.
Because their lyrics put it all out there. So
yeah, it's so hard to listen to now because of that. Like it really cuts deeper now when you know what happened. Do you like their newest album? Pardon?
Do you like their newest album? Just came out. No, yeah.
Wait, what, the paper cuts?
It just came out recently, right? Wasn't there one that just came out recently?
Yeah. But they was just like mostly singing. I think they released a couple new songs, but it was mostly, I think, just singles.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But like I like everything that they do. I like every style. I love that. I love that they just fucking mix it up and piss people off. And, I like that.
Yeah.
So he'd be my number 3.
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg. I was fooling around. The one-liner, stoner-looking comedian, always wore glasses on stage.
No, what's wrong
Long
with me?
hair. You don't know
Long
Mitch
hair?
Hedberg?
No.
I would argue he's the best one-liner guy. It's him or Rodney Dangerfield. I'm going to show you who
Rodney
he is right here.
Dangerfield,
You have to know him. Fucking. He has a bit about like a boat went down, and the only thing that was floating was a bunch of limes, and he's like, if I'm ever drowning, I'm just gonna grab a lime or something like that. Something about. Oh my god, you have to know who he is.
No, I need to know. How would the lime fucking save him? What's the joke?
Mitch Hedberg.
Okay, I've seen him.
No, the
sure.
limes are buoyant. They float.
Okay.
So he's just saying, just grab a lime. Do you know him? Do you recognize him?
Yes, I recognize him for sure.
Anyways,
I've never seen him.
Little stoner, one-liner,
Okay,
just, I think, just ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And I was fooling around. I was like, I want to have one comedian at this table,
Yeah.
you know? And Rodney Dangerfield was on there. Carlin was on there. But I ended up going with him because I feel like we're just closer in age. And we relate a little more.
Look up now. Yeah.
And then... So I'm changing my number 5.
Okay.
And I'll do an honorable mention for my current number 5. But as you were talking, I was like, who could I learn from? And although my number 5 he's a motivational speaker, he's a wrestler, he did a lot of things. But I'm going to go number 5,
Flair?
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Right?
I'm going to go number 5, Jesus.
I know.
What? What's going on, bro?
I need to talk to this man.
Just for like 2 hours. Do you know
How did you have this influence?
Bring a giant notepad, yeah. He's like, dude, I don't know what happened. Like, I set a fire and they thought I was magic. Like, you know, like, I wonder what's the deal, dude?
True, though. It's like,
you know,
I need to pick his
like,
brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, did everyone just make this shit up about you? Like, because the miracles didn't happen, brother. Like, that's for sure. And then
Jesus wasn't nailed on the cross. Died of an overdose back.
I need to know the real truth.
What was your teen years like, sir? Why do we not know anything about your teen
years?
years?
Know the real truth.
An honorable mention to James Hellwig. He's a wrestler known as the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah. And after, like, he had a troubling, career.
So many wrestlers are like that, eh?
But just became a huge motivational speaker. And, the kind that, don't get me wrong, I find value in everyone's approach because if you can reach somebody, I'm not everybody.
Yep.
But, this guy... The way his thing was like, hey, stop being a bitch, He's like, you fucking
stuff.
go at it, and you that kind of, like David Goggins kind of shit.
I'm like that, yep.
That's what I like.
Yeah, I love
and he was very much like that.
Yeah.
He's like, you can do it. Stop being a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get at it.
Yeah.
We've all had problems. Like, fucking do something.
Yeah.
That
You're not special.
That's
like,
right.
that kind of shit.
Oh, I talk about that shit all the time.
Yeah. So, shout out to him.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, sir.
Yeah.
Before we start doing this thing, was there any celebrity that has passed away that has affected you?
No.
Or the closest thing? Someone maybe you didn't have, direct contact with, or...
Like a celebrity?
Anybody that wasn't, a close friend.
No,
Their death affected you.
The only... Actually, I'm very lucky that I haven't lost many people that I love, except for my ex-father-in-law. And that was the first time I had watched somebody die and somebody that I love very much die. And he died of lung cancer. Pretty young at 63. Yeah, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago now. I have no concept of time. So that was really, really rough. To watch a really strong man, huge, badass motherfucker, be reduced to that. That was really, really awful to go through. And for my family to go through and for my ex to go through. It's a tough, tough thing. So that was my first real loss in watching that, but... Yeah, no celebrities and stuff, no. I tend to be really, as much as I'm so emotional, I love to connect to people and I'm a crier and I can cry at commercials. I'm also, like I said, I'm very realistic and matter of fact. That's where sometimes I feel like that autism piece, I don't know. But I have a very easy time of dealing with that stuff. Because I'm so realistic. So that's why, at a senior's home, I'm always assigned to, the people who are... passing, in palliative care, because I'm making them laugh. It doesn't faze me what they're going through. Nothing grosses me out. And I'm just shooting the shit with them. And it doesn't faze me because it's all life. We're all gonna go through it. It's so no, especially celebrities, no, it's just it doesn't affect me as much. It's sad, but no.
Yeah. I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
Fucking life.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Topics.
All right. You can grab one as well.
Okay. You gonna go first?
Oh man, both of these are good. We have to do both. Okay, I'll go first. What science fiction technology would you love to use?
Science fiction technology?
Yeah.
Oh, probably like fucking some sort of robotics shit.
Okay.
Like, if I could get robots to do stuff for me, like cook and clean.
Yeah.
That sort of shit. Like, if I could, yeah.
All right.
And to, like, the way that I want it.
Yeah.
I'm so OCD about things.
Yeah.
I think robotics would be pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Like transfer your consciousness into a robot so they know
that
exactly
it's like
how
I'm
you
just
think.
like sleeping and thinking like just do this shit.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm just thinking, get up, go do the dishes, do it the way I like it, and like it's coming.
Yeah, we're there.
I would love it.
I like that. That's a good answer too.
What are we? Are we both answering the questions?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna answer this.
Okay.
Yeah, you can answer as well. I would say like maybe teleportation. Time travel seems like a good idea, but there's so many things
I've seen movies that
it
just goes wrong.
So I'd be like, I would like to like, I don't know, teleport,
100%.
I don't know, into a bank vault just for a few minutes. Just, something like that. Yeah,
on
teleportation.
vacation too. I would just like to be able to just
yeah.
Jamaica.
Fucking skip the airport.
I
All right.
know. Okay, my question is okay, this is a good one, I think. Describe your perfect day.
My perfect day, if you asked me a year and a half ago,
I was going to say, I know what it's going to be now with the little one.
Different, but honestly, I'll do anything. We got annual passes to the Ripley's Aquarium. She loves going there. We'd probably go do that. Maybe we go to I'm such a simple person. Like, I don't want to be around anybody. I would just want to be with like my lady and my daughter and just go do fun things. I don't even really know specific. Whatever she wanted to do, I would fucking do,
Feels like you kind of like lived through her eyes.
I would like, if I was thinking in the future, I want her to see me perform. Mm-hmm. I could see like something where she's older and she comes to see me perform, that being part of like the day.
Yeah.
But really, it's not about what I'm doing, it's who I'm with.
Yeah.
That I think would make it.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, that's the same
Kids?
for me. For me, at this point, I don't know. Honestly, I'm with them too fucking much.
Yeah.
For
That's
me,
not bad.
I'm a
That's
beach
good.
person. Like, I love to be like on a beach with a cocktail with some of my like best friends, the people that make me laugh the most.
Yeah.
Just like not giving a shit, partying. I would love that. I'm always like, because life hits me so hard these days. Like, I always like wish that I could just like go back to like one day in like my early 20s, just like live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the song. Which one is it? Is it Macklemore or whatever? Someday they'll tell us that these are the good days. How does it go?
I don't know.
How come they didn't tell us that these were the good days? The fuck, the good old days. These are the good old days. How the fuck? How can I remember? Anyway,
maybe I do know the song.
I like cry when I hear that song because it's like it's so true. It's like when you're in those moments, you don't realize that like you're gonna want to live back there someday. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. What about your adult life would impress your childhood self?
Oh my god.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Oh my god. What wouldn't it? Honestly, really, right now that I'm actually doing like the comedy and shit that I always wished that I could do as a kid. Like as a kid, I always thought I was gonna be some sort of performer, be famous or whatever. So I think she'd be really impressed with that I'm doing that now for sure.
I think, man, I just think that,
I know what you're gonna say.
he would just be impressed that we made it, I think, Like, it's not even, like, yeah, it's cool, I ref and I work with, like, wrestlers that I watched on TV, and that's all cool and everything, but, like, I had a lot of hurdles, man, that I didn't think I would get
Did
through.
you ever?
And
not by choice, man.
And, yeah.
Not by choice.
I think that's what he'd be you fucking made it, man.
Yeah.
Like, not, like, I've never, like, not financially. Like, I mean, like,
Doesn't
literally,
matter.
physically, you're alive now. You
Yeah.
made it. You got through that shit.
Yeah.
I think that's what he would be impressed with. Yeah. Because there was so many years where I was just like, I want to die.
I know.
And I just didn't have the balls to do it. And then it got to like a serious point. Like I was saying before, I took the therapy. Well, I've been to therapy a bunch, but the therapy that got me into culinary, where like I had planned at that point, the reason that led to that. I mean, there was other things like drug abuse and things, but I was getting clean. And I was probably like a couple months like sober. Other than weed, weed's always been a very big part of my life. And I was with a woman, and we were like planning on having a baby. We planned it, and then she lived in a different city, and I would go visit her on weekends. And we were planning on moving together before the baby was born. And I went down on a weekend, and she's a couple months pregnant. And I woke up one morning, and she was like out on the balcony smoking.
Oh.
And I fucking went and grabbed her a pack of cigarettes, and I fucking threw it off the balcony, and I fucking like, we got obviously an argument.
Yeah.
And then like, I left earlier than I was planning to. And then the next time we spoke, she's like, yeah, I got an abortion. And I was like, fuck. Like like, you didn't even...
Not even...
You didn't tell me or anything, like, before, like, she already had it done. And I like, obviously...
Her body, her choice.
Yeah, we're not gonna go there, but like... It
but
still hurts me. It would have
been nice to have a conversation.
We
That's
planned
crazy.
it, and then you just did it behind my back without letting... It hurt a lot, And that kind of led to it. I remember, like, literally tying a fucking cable cord, a really long cable cord, into a noose and going and sitting in a tree. Like, I went at, like, 3 a.m. This is... I don't even know why I'm talking about this.
No.
But at, like, 3 a.m.
We have to talk
and
about
I
this.
sat there until the fucking sun came up, like, with just tears in my eyes, like, the whole time. And then when the sun was coming up, I was like, I'm not going to do this. If I wasn't going to do it, if I didn't do it now, I'm never going to do this, and I need to get out of this frame of mind. And I went and I fucking seek therapy. Luckily, I was on, some government assistance. I was working, but I wasn't making a lot of money, so I was on, like, some welfare. I was getting some money from the government, and through that connection, I was able to get the counseling, which a lot of people can't afford, for free.
Yeah.
That led to, I mean, everything that good kind of came, well, not everything, but a lot of the good came from, like, going to therapy and fucking...
You always wonder, though, like, how come, like, when it's, I don't know if you believe in that fucking vernacular, died by suicide or committed suicide, and for me, it's like, who gives a shit? Like, people are like, autism, autistic, everyone just get over words, first of all, it's stupid. But I always wonder, like, what is it that, like, someone like you can go a whole night and ward it off? You didn't go through with it. Mm-hmm. And for someone else, like, it's not. They just can't. Like, it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
And I hope if you get big or if you do anything with your own... When people get famous, for me, I hate it, and it's such a shame when people get famous and they want to be a comedian, they want to do all this stuff, but there's a purpose here. So this is where you're like, I don't know why I'm telling this story. Well, that's why. If you don't use your voice to help others, there's no point. There's no point. Because we could have missed out on someone like you. Mm. I think that was probably maybe your... Are we still doing questions?
Yeah.
It was probably... Before I lose my train of thought. That was probably what it was, though. Like, a lot of the times, like, people with ADHD, like I said, are very creative, smart. You're clearly very intelligent on another level, like, but you never had the opportunities, right? So you didn't have the money, you didn't have the parents, you didn't have the support. So when people talk about people who end up on the street, and people who are homeless, and people who are addicts, and they think they're pieces of shit, just get a job, fucking loser. I hate that attitude.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you didn't have the opportunity to do what you could have done, and now you're doing with your amazing mind. If someone had told you that it was worth something, but who was there to tell you? Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. That's what's really difficult, because you're like, that you have something inside you that's special, because, there's 7-8% of us in the world, but you couldn't do anything with it. And that can kill you. That's probably where it came from, right? Mm. And I'm thinking that's probably what stopped you, because you're like, no, man, I have something to fucking contribute here.
And fucking, yeah.
And look.
I'm really glad that I, didn't.
Look what you're bringing to
and
this.
And that's basically why I said what I said,
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you daydream about?
Oh, fuck.
Even if it's fucking weird. I have intrusive thoughts, man.
I don't know. I think about... Man, I just daydream. I think about past events for some reason. Like, I think things that, like... Maybe that's not what daydreaming is. Maybe daydreaming is, like, just creating things. But, like, when I could literally... I was talking about this the other day with my lady in the car because we were like listening to a certain song, and I was like, man, this fucking thing is so hypnotic. Like I was driving, but I wasn't even thinking about driving because the music was on, and I was just like, I found myself just like thinking about the show the other night and like what I could have said here when this audience member said that. That's like, I don't know.
Oh, that's your brain that never stops.
Yeah.
It's that overthinking. It's the ruminating. Yeah.
But like I don't know. I guess just past events, things that I've lived through. That's what I daydream about. You know.
Yeah.
Or sometimes like I just where's this person? I haven't talked to this person in forever.
I do that a lot too.
And I think about them, and it's usually at a point where like I especially like driving and stuff, where like, okay, I can't even look at my phone for a while, but then it's like I was thinking about them for like
But then
10
how
minutes,
often do they like come up, or then you see them?
and then yeah.
Well, because ADHD, we have like a sixth sense. It's fucked up. And I don't believe in anything or anyone, but I have like dreams that have come true. Like this is because we have all of our senses are so crazy heightened. So I bet you a lot of weird shit happens to you too, where you're thinking of someone, then they call you, you haven't seen them in forever. Like there's certain things that you kind of can manifest.
I also think more often now I'm thinking about like I guess daydreaming about like things that I can do with my daughter in the future.
Yeah.
You know? Like all like I just want to like go on like a road trip and do all these things. I'm like, she can't appreciate it yet. Like chill out. Let's just do a few things and then do all the...
And that's where I'm at now. Now my girls like, and we're like best friends. Honestly, we call ourselves like the Three Musketeers. We're like last year we went on a road trip to Montreal together.
Love
like it is so much fun, and you're gonna love that. It's the best shit. Yeah. What do I daydream about?
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, it's like the future, because I feel like as much as my life has progressed so much, I still feel very much stuck. Like I don't have a partner. Like I'm, and now that I have so much, hope for the future that, I'm, gonna find that partner that's gonna spark something in me. I'm gonna get to where I want to go to in my career. Like there are things that I'm gonna do in this world, and I am gonna make a difference, and I'm gonna say the I told you so's.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do a lot of that because I tend to have a hard time staying in a moment and appreciating a moment because, like I said, I'm always on fast forward of like the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. And that's what I work through in therapy a lot, is appreciating where you're at and having patience, which we lack, for what's coming next. So I do a lot of that. I have a wild imagination. There's always, do you think in like pictures and color? Like do you see and visualize a lot in your head when you think of that stuff? Like,
oh yeah, I could do that.
Me too. Like, do you see, like, when you think about like what life with your daughter is going to be like, do you have pictures of what you're going to look like when you're older, what she's going to look like? Do you have like a whole movie?
Oh yeah.
For me too. Just constantly like movies in my head, a soundtrack in my head.
Yeah, I was just about to say what we're listening to.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's big on music too. It's great.
Oh yeah, so are my kids. But they love it. And it's crazy because my ex is a music lover too. We both were. Both of our daughters are named after songs, both of them. And we always have music in the house. It's because we can't handle quiet. So we always have to have something on. But my daughters too, they love music. And especially like rap. Like my older daughter, man, she's 13. She's like into friggin' Nas and
that's good rap. Yeah, that's what's up.
He loved all that stuff. But yeah, it's good shit.
Man, Classified. I don't know if you listen to Classified. He just dropped an amazing album.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. Have you heard it?
I did. So I'm so obsessed with music that every Friday I wait for Fridays to go through every new album that's come out on Apple Music. And I go through all the songs very quickly because I connect to a song very quickly. It's either the first few beats or the chorus.
Slippin' Classified. Yeah. Put that in. Oh, man.
So I did. I went through some of them, but I don't know why.
It's like a bad relationship kind of song.
Oh, okay, I like that.
It's fucking so... Oh, my God. Dude, it's been a very long time since I've been able to listen to an album front to back, and like I like every single song, and they're all different. Like there's like more new school sounding stuff.
I have to give it more of a chance because I did go through it, and I was like, eh.
Love it. That's my shit right now.
That's cool.
All right, yo. Well, I guess we could wrap her up. It's been a bit. Thank you so much for being here. How long has it been?
6 hours? It feels like
6 hours. Two. Probably like just over around 2.
Okay,
it's been good.
Cool.
You can let these people know where to get at you if you like.
Oh, I don't know. On Instagram, I'm Sandee B Comedy. So that's SANDEEBEE Comedy EE. So that's my Instagram handle. That's really all I've got. I also have a website, sandeeb.com. I also do motivational speaking, advocacy, life and wellness coaching, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's where I'm at these days.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Keep spreading the love.
I
appreciate the honesty. It's been a great conversation.
Me too.
Guys, like always, this podcast is brought to you by Neon Light District. Hit them up. Use code Pillow Talk to save 10%. And by the Great North Apparel. Hit them up. Use code Pillow Talk to save 30%. Go follow Sandee. She's going to be at Knee Slapper City on the 28th, I believe. Okay. I don't know what time, but fucking links in the bio. Go get your tickets to whatever shows I got going on. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Peace the fuck out. Peace.